5 o'clock, we had a extremely heavy rain, followed by a thunderstorm, followed by snow thunder, followed by a total whiteout in the space of 5 minutes. The lawns and everything up here are pure white.
Wow.
Wow.
We went from 50 to 32 in about 10 minutes.
Nice tool you got there, Ronnie.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. Believe it or not, it's a golf club.
I could, but the grip on that's not going to be the same for turning.
We were just talking about it. In order to use it like this, you gotta be very gentle with it and just make light passes with it, you know.
It looks good.
Maybe Gary will feel sorry for me and send me one of them that he's drilled out. I don't know what Brenda did.
I ain't telling.
Now I'll tell you one thing I do whenever I make the handles and put the set screws in it. I put metric set screws in it, or I guess the 5/16 is similar. I put one that will fit a 4mm hex drive, because that's what all the chucks use is the 4mm. So I put the same one in. So I use the same Allen wrench for everything.
Okay.
And also, metric has a finer thread pitch, so you get more threads for the thickness of metal.
Yeah, but the advantage of it is that I'm looking at it is I use the same hex. So my hex screw is on my magnet on the headstock of my lathe, or sitting next to it. So I'm not having to dig through and find other Allen wrenches.
I hadn't thought about that.
I got a
So I
question.
use one Allen wrench for all of it. It's worth investing into that one metric, tap and drill for it to be able to go with, so they're all consistent. So you're not having to, go find the different ones.
Why didn't you tell me this earlier before I did it?
What did you drill it out to?
I had some set screws that are 1024.
You can drill it out and still use it.
So
you can drill a 1/4 inch out and still use it. It's bigger than a 1/4 inch. So
you said it was 4mm?
It's a 4mm Allen wrench. It's not a 4mm screw.
Yeah.
I think it's a 6 or 8mm. I'd have to double check it. You'd have to
There's
check
lots
the
of
size
other
it's on
sides to the metal.
Ray, I have a question for you. Do you ever have to worry about sharpening that ball end mill?
$6 a crack and 2 sides and 4 total flutes. When it's dull, I just buy another one.
Buy another, okay.
Costs less to buy another one than it does to get it sharpened.
Well,
Yeah,
you can probably hand sharpening it with just a hand hone too to touch it up for a little bit.
I was able
A diamond hone would work well. Just get a little credit card size diamond hone.
Yeah.
Give it about 8 figure 8s on each, and then turn it 90 degrees. Give it another 8 figure 8s.
Do you
Drop or 2 of water on it to lubricate it.
You run that inside the flute. Yeah, we hear you. We hear you, Cade. You run that inside the flute or on the bevel, or where do you run the sharpening?
On the top surface.
Okay.
I have some that are 5 or 6 years old, still cut like new.
Yeah, because it's not a tool that you're going to be using every day, you know?
Sorry
I
about
use it a
that.
lot.
I
I
was
use
just
it a
checking
lot.
my mic.
You use it a lot? Okay.
Yep. I turn a lot of goblets. So a goblet is usually my warm up. So just chuck up something, whatever branch I've got hanging out under the lathe, and
We're gonna have to call you the goblet man then.
Yeah.
As a beginner, am I understanding that this is somewhat similar to a bottom feeder type of tool?
hard to say that. Did you watch, were you on the meeting last week, Doug?
Yes, it was.
Okay, well, we talked about it a lot last week, right?
Yes, we did. Yep.
Okay, so what the ball end mill will do is the flutes are at a natural shearing angle, so you get a good finishing cut with the flutes, okay?
Okay.
And I don't have one with me, but it is also self-drilling, so you can do things like, if you want to make the inside, say I'm turning a goblet, all right? You want to make the inside of your goblet deeper, you just get that thing on center and you push a little bit and it'll drill in, okay?
Yep.
And then you can bring it along the bottom and then bring it up along the hole in one stroke. You can bring it up along the side of the goblet, you know, all the way from the center along the bottom to the side. So it's an everything sort of tool.
Okay.
So, and it works best, like we were talking earlier, it works best on end grain. It does work well on side grain, but it works better on end grain. So if you're turning an end grain bowl, then that's.
If you can afford this tool, it's a good tool if you can afford it. I think Ronnie's got almost $20 invested in his, buying the tool and the handle. When Ronnie, is Ronnie around yet?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you.
Tell him,
Eddie,
Ronnie.
you're the late one this evening.
Yeah, he showed us his. with
Yeah,
the glove handle.
I was kind of late because I went to the wrong meeting room. I went to one I got on my computer that says www with Trey. But that doesn't turn out to be this number. I got to get rid of it.
Okay, well, the bottom line is that there were 50 people already in before you came in.
Whoa.
Hi, Eddie. Hi, Trey.
Hey,
Ronnie.
Kate.
Hi, everyone.
Out of a tailgate room for him. He missed the donuts.
I did? Man,
Yeah.
Oh,
All the
shucks.
donuts are gone?
Kate, how much snow did you get today or overnight?
Oh, yeah, I woke up to a winter wonderland. I was like, I saw it started last night about 9 p.m. and then got up this morning. It was still snowing. Well, I was up before 12, but it was still snowing past 12 and woke up. We probably had maybe 3 inches of snow on the grass, but it was melted by maybe 2 p.m. this afternoon. How much did you get?
I got about 2 inches, but it's colder here, so I still have it where the sun wasn't. So any place that the trees are shading, I still have snow on the ground.
Oh, same here. Yeah, wherever the sun didn't get to it, it's still snow there. I got up this morning and the cat wants to go outside. And I'm like, you're not going to want to go outside. It's too cold. You're going to jump in the snow and run back inside. He insisted, so I took him outside on his leash and he went to walk onto the grass, turned around quick, ran to the door and waited for me to open it. So I told you, it's not nice.
Yeah.
That weather was rough on you. It was 70 degrees out here, a clear blue sunny sky this morning.
About an inch of snow in PA.
Eddie, you want to go ahead and make me a co-host? I've already made you host. So
I just did it a minute ago.
okay.
You're up.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
So Eddie, you trying to rub it in that you're 70 degrees and we're in the snow?
No way in the world would I do something like that.
Yeah, right.
That's all right. When it's
I was going to
steamy
say,
and
I'm
it's 70
suffering
degrees
at
here.
78 degrees, and my background is a really good example of what it looks like right now.
That's all right.
Looks
You know,
nice.
give us 2 months and then we'll be doing it to you.
Yeah, give us 2 months, we'll be sweating our butt off.
Yep, and your
Yeah.
tires will be melting on your
Exactly.
vehicles. So
Well, in Washington State, on the western side, 78 is pretty much the summer.
yeah. Your issue is rain. Or in the western side, you don't get much there. No, the western side gets rain. The eastern side doesn't get rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just sprinkles. It's nothing like any of you guys' rain. I
Hey,
used to live
now,
in Kansas. It was a wall of water.
the ironic thing is you're out in Washington State, and right?
Yes.
And yeah, and Mobile, Alabama, right next to me, has twice the rainfall you do, but we have twice as many sunny days than you do. So you have more cloudy days of rain than we do, twice as much as we do, but we get twice the rainfall.
Yeah, I've been in real rainfall, and it's, you know, it's nothing like the rain I'm supposed to be getting. Yeah, light summer spring showers is more what the rain here is. Most of the time.
Did everybody go quiet?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Everybody went quiet. I thought things were acting up.
That's what I
They
thought.
they went for those donuts that Ronnie's got hidden.
I think he ate them already.
Hey, if they stayed there for more than one, yep. Ronnie called me yesterday and I asked him about that tool and said, how much money you have expended? First, I thought he said like $40 or $80. I'm thinking, well, that can't be right. But he shopped smart and got it.
Hey, is Mr. Brown online yet? That sent me some more pens.
Oh, I got a picture today from Mr. Schuster, who sent you a bundle of pens.
No, I didn't.
Well, now you have to, because Eddie just called you out.
I know, but I didn't send any pens. I sent a picture to the site about 3 bowls. I didn't send out pens.
I think somebody, I'm going to look at the name in a moment. I got to get over here.
Unless there's another Schuster.
It was John Brown.
John
There we
Brown
go.
did that?
It's kind
Okay.
of like 4 rows of pens showing out there. Dozens
Yeah.
of them.
So they did. They showed up. I've got them.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had a lot of input to the website this week, a lot in the newsletter, and building it up, looking for stories, looking for articles regarding tools you may build, because like what Ronnie did, I got to go get a picture of that thing and show you how it all came about.
I actually built a screen door for my office, my shop, so that I could let in fresh air.
You see, that'd be the condition of my wife, because the bugs can't come in. She won't come in if the bugs can come in. She don't
What's going on?
understand.
I heard my name mentioned. What's going on here?
Hey, John, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I just arrived back home. See, I still got my hat on.
You still got your mask on?
My hat.
Your mask?
Yeah. Yeah, I have to protect what's up on the top there, you know, like you.
I like that hat.
It's cold out here today. It's only 30-some degrees here right now. 37, I think.
Hey, John, this is Doug Rowe. I just wanted to let you know I did get your pens that you put in the mail to me.
Okay, good. Thank you.
They are absolutely amazing. And here's what everybody needs to know. He made about a bazillion. That might be a slight exaggeration, but he sent a lot of pens, And he took the time to wrap a note around each one of them saying what kind of wood it is, the email address. Boy, I sure hope one of them soldiers, airmen, sailors writes you back and thanks you for that. But if they don't, just know that I definitely appreciate it. And I know the people will appreciate it that are receiving them.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Makes a big difference, folks. It really does. I mean, imagine that you've been away from home for a while and might be doing something you don't want to do. You're protecting our country. We're going to give you a gift. That's all it is.
Johnny Hughes and I turned our first pin in years. Joe came over from Bayou to show us how to turn a pin. And we're going to go help the Boy Scouts turn pins, I guess in June time frame.
I saw that. Joe does a good program.
They get one pin for themselves and one pin for Freedom Pins. Yeah, and we're going to go over there and helping with the Boy Scouts with that. So
yeah, that'll be nice.
He came over to show us how to turn a pin, since neither one of us had turned pins so long, and it's the first time I put that super glue finish on that I thought it worked pretty good. So.
Oh, it does. I had a doctor's visit today, and I gave her a pen about maybe 6 to 8 months ago, and it was CA finished. And we're looking at it today. She says, everybody's amazed how nice and shiny this thing stays. I told her about it. She was blown away. I mean, just happy as could be. She got a pen with a super glue finish. That's all she could think about. I got a super glue finish.
Yeah, we did that, and then I guess we used automotive buffing compound to polish it with.
I like the plexiglass polish. My personal, I like the plexiglass polish that you get from the auto store to clear the lens on your automobile. That's not glass anymore. It's Maquire's makes it, and I mean it is awesome. I got rid of all my other buffing supplies when I got into that. It's just
this may be the same thing. This is Maquire's product.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. It works great for that.
And it's made for the for the plastic lenses in front of you for headlights and stuff.
Yes.
Is that what it's for? Okay.
Yes, sir. And if you got I found out the hard way. If you got a plexiglass screen on something like a window and you wipe it with a cloth and you mess it up, you take a little time, you can get it back, you get the scratches back out. I can almost see outside again.
When you guys are talking about the CA finish, are you talking about Parfix, or are you talking the CA finish that it comes from one of the manufacturers? I can't remember what it was, but which one, Eddie?
I like Starbond thin.
Okay,
All right, Ronnie, get out your gloves, Ronnie. Come on.
So you just put Starbond on it and then buff it, Eddie?
Yes, sir. I do it. I put maybe 5 or 6 coats on it quickly. You can't go back and forth. That's you're not quick enough. And you stack it, you accelerate it, and then you take out the lines and you do it again. I'm working on a video of that, but here's the deal. I get a lot of calls after we did the one with Ronnie because I enjoyed the heck out of that. I can't stand up at a lathe right now. In fact, I can't stand up for anything. I got my walker behind me, but I'm going to get back there again, and I'll show you. And I've got a YouTube on that, how to put it on. I learned that from a gentleman at SWAT about 7 or 8 years ago. And he made it look so easy. And I watched that video, his demonstration 3 times in 2 days, because it was just something I needed to see. As Ronnie is nuts over this Parfix because it works so well.
Well, you can either put 5 or 6 coats of what you have, or put one what I have, and go sit down and drink a cup of coffee and you're finished.
Well, I don't drink a lot of coffee, Ronnie, you see? You gotta keep busy.
Well, actually, the more expensive one's cheaper if you only put 1 coat on versus 5 of the other.
There you go. There you go.
So I guess he used Parfix.
We did. That's what we used.
Ronnie, do you use the same Parfix that you use on bowls that you use on pens?
I haven't been doing any pens, so they're the one who's bringing that up. I think you have to watch. You have to be a little bit more careful if you're using 3408 on pens, because it's going to go down quick. It's gonna go down deep. But evidently they're getting away with it, putting it on pens.
How do you mean go down deep?
It wasn't 3408 though, Ronnie.
Oh,
3460.
There you go. It was just a Parfix thin, and I forget the numbers on it. There you go.
I've used both of those 2 numbers, and I didn't find any difference in them.
Well, you got to remember the normal Parfix that they're talking about. The viscosity is about 100. When you're talking about 3408, the viscosity is 5. So it's gonna go down deep. That it's gonna happen quick.
I got something.
That pretty much depend on the species of wood you're using. Some of that harder woods, it's not going to soak in as fast, whereas the softer woods, it's really going to go down in deep.
You're right, but it's still going to go down a lot deeper than the normal CA glue. Being that you're going from 100 to 5, it just has to go in.
You say it's that thin?
Huh?
You say it's that thin that it'll go in like that?
Right. The 3408, the viscosity is 5. The other thin CA that you're talking about the viscosity is 100. So.
The 3460 is made to be a top coat, a gloss finish. That's the way I use it. I use it a couple of coats instead of just one.
Yeah, that's what Mark Soleil explained to me too.
I think
There's
if you
different.
talk to Mark Soleil, I think he'll caution you about using 3408 on pins because how fast it's going to go down. You know. So.
Yeah, he warned me about that too. He says it's real good for gluing your bushings to your pen. That's why he recommends the other two, the 3460 and a 900.
Uh-huh.
Well, the bushings just a pop off, even if they're glued to it, they just pop off. So
Yeah, I've never had that problem. I mean, you got to. I see this all the time. Folks say how to get the glue out of the inside and all, reaming out potato plugs and all. I just found the drill bit that fits exactly inside of the 7mm, and I don't put it in the drill. Stick by hand and chase it, and takes all the glue out the inside and cleans up the furrows. And you know, if you don't rush the process, it's a good process.
I got something really cheap. A stick pen, a big pen cartridge. You drill out.
I've seen one of those before.
Yeah, I made a good many of them a few
Me
years
too.
ago.
Good for
Our
gifts.
turning club was doing it.
Yeah. Change the subject a little bit. But.
Yes, sir.
I sent you some pictures today of pins. Did you get them?
We were just talking about you a moment ago.
Okay.
Yes, I got them. They're beautiful.
All right, here they are.
As Larry did that. Larry had, I couldn't get the name up. I was going to look for it when our webmaster said that's what he's got. There you go.
We all followed out.
Don't get mad and throw them now.
Here's some,
That's nice work.
Parfix 3460.
The one in the middle is corn cob, isn't it?
Yes, that's the corn cob. This is cast one. It's got aluminum shavings in it. These are sassafras. Couple here are walnut. Some spalted maple.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
And they're all finished with the 3460 and polished with the auto polish, the Maquires. It seems to work pretty good.
I love it. I love it. You know what? That Maquires will work on lacquer also, not just the Parfix product. You put lacquer on something you got, and you want to bring the shine up, that'll work good there. Now, it'll move shellac and it'll move some polyurethanes. They're not very happy together, but on a hard, like a lacquer, it goes well.
Now, the Maquires that you're using, is it the stuff for the clear glass headlights, or is it for the body?
I'm not sure. I think it's plastic polish. That's what it was. I got auto store.
Plastic polish. Okay, that would be for the headlights then. Plastic polish.
It's really fine. You can barely feel the grit in it. I mean, but it's what it's supposed to be, how it's supposed to feel.
This is the one that I've been using.
Well, I use the.
Okay, hold on. I got to pop somebody else in there. Who said they've been using?
This is Ray. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Ray. We can't see you.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, this new system. So
where on your screen it says stop video. If you click on that, it'll start the video.
Bottom left-hand corner.
Bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah, at the bottom it says mute and then stop video.
All right. Does that help?
You see?
Yeah.
Boy, yeah, but you should have warned us about the close-up.
Well, I have poor vision, so I have to get right up next to something to see it. I'm sorry about that, but I'm going to go back on the mute then.
Okay, thank you. Good to see you here this evening.
What I want to do is when you come to show and tell, I have a vessel that I would like to show and tell.
All right, the way we work that, sir, is you put it in the chat that I have something to show. And when we see Dane, and he said he'll be here tonight. Dane out in Arizona takes care of our lineup for our gallery. And the way he does it is just in the order that they're going through the chat. So we don't miss anybody. And we really don't want to miss anybody. I mean, get some awesome photographs in, folks. I mean, y'all are doing some good work. It hurt my heart, but you're doing some good work. And this week we had a lot of comments about the Wigstands. And if I call them a hat stand, I apologize. But Ronnie has been crazy at this thing. And Ronnie, how many you turned out this week?
Looks like I'm gonna get 5 out this week. Last week I did 10, but that's kind of a lot for me, so I backed it down to 5.
All right, and we got to mention that Ronnie took this wig stand challenge and threw it out to his club, the Bayou Wood Turners, and said, "Okay, guys, this is what we're doing. He'll keep the score. You let him know what you turn, and we'll let everybody else know what you're turning also." And that goes for us too, right, Ronnie?
That's right. Anybody that's turned in any wig stands, let me know. Put it in the chat column, and we'll keep track of it and give you a grand total of what we're doing compared to everybody else.
Good. And somebody today from, I think it's Joe Klein, said he turned some stands. I apologize if it's not Joe. Turned some stands, and he asked somebody at one of the hospitals, "Would you like this?" And he said the person jumped head over heels, did flip-flops, because you're going to give him something they don't have a source for.
That was Joe Klein.
That was Joe? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he turned them out, and he's loving it. He loves it. Bad news, good news, Ronnie. Or good news, bad news. I priced 2x4s at Home Depot today. $1 a foot.
Wow.
That's whitewood.
Anybody that's building a new house around in your area, just go to the job site, ask them. They'll be glad to give it to you because they're throwing it in the dumpsters. Any shorts that they have, 2x4s, 2x6s, 2x8s, 10s, 12s, and you can use that. In one day's time, I went to a job site and I picked up enough that I can make over 50 wig stands complete, and I bet you I have enough spindles to do a couple hundred.
Great. And Ronnie, I spent 40 years in the construction industry. I can appreciate that you'll come get them. And you can appreciate that I might not let you on my job site to come get them. So if I put them out by the curb, you're going to take them away.
There you go.
It's just that simple.
If anyone doesn't want to go to a job site and you want to buy, the best thing to buy is a 2x8. 1 foot of 2x8 will give you a complete stand. Two 6x6s and 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, 12 inches long. So for every foot of a 2x8, you can get a wig stand out of it.
Good move. All right. And folks, we're waiting on you. We're waiting and counting on you to jump on board with this.
And you know what? We're talking about wig stands. I have a carving I did and gave it to my brother-in-law. He's Australian, and they use wig stands over there. He's an attorney. They call him a wiggy because a solicitor. So if you go and plead a case in court, you have to wear a wig. The old-fashioned wigs that you see that they wore years and years ago. You have to wear one of those white wigs with the curly stuff on it. So
hey, keep that to yourself, because that, you know what happens. Doug Rowe, I have one of those wigs on.
But they still have to wear that in court when they plead cases in court. They have to wear their little wiggies, so they're wiggies.
All right.
I believe the British still do the same thing, but this was in Australia.
Eddie,
What?
you'd be in trouble.
Why is that?
You don't have any hair up there.
No, Ronnie, I got a mohawk today. See it right there? Right down the middle. No, I'd want to get back into the 60s and maybe 40s with that.
So you gonna let your hair grow out, Eddie?
It already fell out. Why you let it grow out? The cruelest thing my number 2 granddaughter did was she was looking at marriage photos from my wife and I, and she's looking through the photos and she looks up at me and looks through the picture, looks up at me. After a few minutes, she says, okay, I got to ask, what happened to the hair? Just right in the heart, right in the heart.
Yeah.
Just tell her you got taller and grew right through it.
I got to worry about her. She's the genius. I can't mess with her too much. All right, we're gonna at 6:30, folks, and we're all getting together and chatting. But while we're chatting, if you've got something to show for a gallery tonight, I don't see Dane in with the shed. He said he was reorganizing his wood stack in the shop. He got back from his vacation today. But if you got something you want to show in gallery tonight, let's do it. Let's get in here and show folks. What do you got? Hello? Are you there?
Hello? I'm still here.
All right. I'm gonna look up. Somebody said they got a gallery piece they want to show. We're ready. Did I do something wrong? That again? Now I got it. We had a glitch. All right. Somebody got something to show for gallery. Speak up.
Okay.
Yes.
Can somebody hear me?
We all hear you.
Can you see me?
Not yet, but we're getting there.
We can see your bookcase.
Yeah, there you are. Now on the spot.
Okay.
Not you. We got you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know how it's showing up because I can't see it, so tell me.
Pull it back towards you. Pull it back towards you a little bit. There you go. Now we see it in good color.
Yeah, it's got a lot of red on it. I think it's gum. I'm not entirely sure.
I like the little bark inclusion.
Yeah, there's a knot here and then the conclusion here. And then of course a walnut top on it. But I love the red in it.
Really nice. Came out good.
That is pretty.
Yes, it is.
All right, I did my thing. Thank you, guys.
You're quite welcome, sir. Anybody else up for gallery tonight? We're up right now. You have to do is do a little talking so I can find you.
Eddie, I've got something.
Whoa. Say again. Is that you, Dane?
It is.
All right, we can get you.
Okay.
That's you.
All right, so I've got a mallet that I turned this week. Feel very fortunate that we hit 500 subscribers on our YouTube channel. And so I turned a mallet to give away. And so we'll have a drawing on the 9th of May and give this thing away.
Good, all right. How do you go about doing that?
Well,
you said drawing. How do you do that?
What I had everybody do is go in and comment on the, put a comment on the video. And then I'm just going to put the names in a bag and draw one out. Real high tech, you know.
What kind of wood is it?
This is oak and it's made from a limb.
Hey, Dean.
Yes, sir.
On other people that put out videos, there is some software out there that you can use to do that drawing.
Yeah, I know there is, and I started looking into that, and basically you got to assign each one of those folks a number anyway.
Oh.
And so one of the guys that does a lot of photography videos, he said it's easier just to write down the names, stick them in a bag. So I'm going to do that for this one anyway, and we'll see what happens after that.
You got to crawl before you can walk, huh?
Exactly, and you know, still pretty new to this, so
Hey, rookies do really well at outworking, so that's good.
We enjoying your videos though.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
You could probably
Dean, you know what
simplify
makes
it by
good
just putting.
mallets?
We'll say start again.
You know what makes good mallets? Get a hold of some old bowling pins. They're hard maple.
Oh yeah,
and they make excellent mallets.
they do. I made myself one out of an oak limb probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I can't destroy that thing. I can't tell you how many times I have beat drive centers into stuff, and if you look close, you can see a couple of little dings in it. But that's some tough wood right there.
It is. Think about how it lives, getting ran over by bowling balls.
Exactly.
All right. I know John Brown's got something to show tonight, so we're going to pop over and see Mr. Brown.
Let me add something to this before you do it. On your drawing, am I muted? Okay.
All right,
you're
nice. Very nice.
That is nice, John.
Very
That's
good.
nice,
Beauty.
John.
You see the
That
grain
is
pattern
nice.
and that stem on that?
Yes.
I think that's yellow pine, and it is mean stuff to turn, I'll tell you.
Supported by 2x4 club.
Well, it looks like you did a good job of it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it took, in the dished out part in the base of it here, I had a horrible time getting scratches out of it. I had to put some finish on it and resand it. It just wants to scratch and everything. I wouldn't try to do it again. That's why I used just a plain old piece of a couple of 2x6s in the top to get it hollowed out in the bottom. I was afraid to try that yellow pine stuff. And there's so much sap and pitch in that yellow pine, but it has really a pretty grain to it there.
It does.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful.
Very nice.
Thanks, guys.
That's very nice.
I'm getting connected with a local hospital here, real close to where my apartment is, and to see if they want some of them in their cancer unit.
Great move.
What steps? I got a question. What steps are y'all going through to do the reverse hollowing on the top and bottom? What steps do you go through to rechuck it? How are you holding the wood to turn it?
On that bottom part, I turned a very short tenon on the bottom of it, and then I had an inch and an inch hole drilled in it, and I could put it on my pin chucks or #1 jaws and a one-way chuck or the Vic mark I was using. I believe it was an inch and a 1/16. I had an inch and a 6.
Ronnie, you doing about the same thing?
Yeah, I was waiting for Mr. John to stop. What I'm doing, I'm taking the 6x6, 6-inch by 6-inch piece, finding the center. I'm drilling a 1-inch hole in it, but only drill it 3/4 of an inch deep. And the reason is, I'm gonna tell you in a minute. After you drill that 1-inch hole 3/4 of an inch deep, go to your bandsaw and cut it round. And then I go to the lathe and I take my live center and I'll put it in that hole. If it's only 3/4 of an inch deep, it's not gonna bottom out on the face of the live center. And then I proceed to turn the underside first. And I'm backing off the edge about a 1/2 inch. At that point, I'm coving that out, and I'm using that little #1 easy hollower that Easy Wood tool makes. And I do that, and you go ahead and sand it at that point, because you're not going to be able to get back in there. At that point, then I turn it around and I put it on my pin jaws. And for the top, of course, I'm making it a dome shape. And if it's the bottom, I'm concaving the underside a little bit just to let it sit out on the outer edge. And at that point, I'll sand it and all, and I'll put them on the side. And the last thing I'm doing, I'm putting the CA on them, buffing them, waxing them. And the last thing I'm doing is gluing them together.
Okay, so you drill a 3/4 inch hole about a 3/4 inch deep in it.
A 1 inch hole, 3/4 of an inch deep.
Okay, and
in
what center's that from your and you putting that on your live center, right?
Right. Now the tenon, I'm only making a 10.5 inch in length.
Okay.
So it doesn't bottom out at anything.
Okay. And you're just using a spur drive on the drive side of it?
On the drive side, I'm using a little 5/8 like safety drive. If you try to use a full spur drive on it, it's too big, and to turn that tenon down to an inch, you're going to be hitting your spur drive.
Okay.
I didn't use a spur drive at all. I just put it, opened up the jaws on the chuck, and then took a jar opener rubber thing and put it in between the jaws and the face. So the live center goes into the hole, and then you push it up against this rubber against the jaws, and you don't have to do anything to the top or the round top or the bottom. There's no pin that's going in there, so you can turn it around and do fine.
And you're turning around and putting in a pin jaw, expanding pin jaw.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, that's what I did. But my pin jaws are long, and I drilled the hole. I drilled the hole 1 1/16", and how I got the 1 1/16 Forstner bit was for pepper mills, and I drilled the hole 1 1/8" deep, and it would fit over top of those, well, pin jaws, #1 jaws, whatever you want to call them, the full depth, and go right up against the end of the faceplate, or the #1 jaws on the chuck, and expanded the jaws into it.
Okay.
A lot of ideas how to do this tonight, and
you can also use a turn a tenon on a block of wood. If you use it on some of that construction lumber and make a tenon on that, you fit it a little bit snug and put some water on it or tongue oil, and it'll swell it up in that hole, and you'll have a hard time getting it off. It holds really good.
Well, we talking wood turning tonight. Here you go, John. You are the first member of the Wigstand Warriors.
Oh, gee. Thank you very much.
All right.
What happened to Ronnie? He's in there.
Salary, Joe?
What happened to Ronnie? He's made a whole bunch of them there. Is he in this too?
I get thrown to the side, Mr. John.
Oh my.
I'm used to it.
Only after the haircut comment. That's the only reason. I see we have Terry's iPad. Terry, talk to us, sir. Terry?
Mr.
Bob.
Moffitt?
All right, now I have Terry.
Yeah, Terry.
All right, Terry, I'm spotlighting you right now. Okay, go.
Okay, well, I was listening to all your ideas about the Wigstands and how to hold them, and I tried all those methods and several more. But I finally got some product done, not the way I wanted it to go, but it went. And I don't know if I can get it back far enough so you can see it. How about if I turn it sideways?
Well, back up.
That level looks really good. Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
That's good. Nice.
Very nice,
Terry.
That's nice.
It's not a real good idea to turn spindles out of green wood. They tend to get a little crooked. And the top was the same. I turned it green, and then I microwaved them, dried them, and then I returned them. The bottom, they are not done. The bottom on this one I haven't turned yet. I just had cut the spigot in there to put the jaws in there to hold the bottom so I could turn the rest of it. And bored the holes in it, but I did about everything. The bottom is mesquite. It's kind of big and it's kind of heavy. I like this one pretty good. And I set my sights on a dozen, but that's not going to happen, I don't think. But the biggest thing I had, people are envying me, I'm sure, when I tell them that the only kind of wood that I can get is mesquite. But it's not always perfect for trying to make things the way you want to make them. You know, this is the second one that I got done, and the mesquite is, I love turning it. It's wonderful, but you put it on the lathe and it tells you what it wants to be. When you start telling it what it wants to be, it doesn't usually work out very well.
Well, you got a fight on your hands.
There's so many. Whoops. One more, you lost me.
We still got you, Terry, and we're putting you into the Wigstand Warrior group here. So
Okay.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Very good.
Nice.
I like it.
This
Very
is
nice.
the third one.
John, now you got company.
Yeah. Speaking of company, let's go to Bob Moffett. What you got, Bob?
Okay, I've got a bowl that I turned. A friend of mine gave me some oak, and he passed away, so I turned it and painted it, and we'll give it to his family as a memorial. And it is. That's gorgeous.
Oh, that's pretty. Nice color shift.
Very nice.
Wow,
And then,
that's beautiful.
I was making a tool. Well, I don't have a metal lathe or anything, so I didn't know how to drill anything. So I took an old golf club and cut it off and put my cutter in it.
Hey, Ronnie, he stole your idea. Ronnie.
No, he called me and gave me that idea.
Oh, that's great.
See, Ronnie and I are in the golf club turning club now.
Ronnie went to buy a golf club and it was like 50 or 60 bucks.
I got mine at Salvation Army for $2.
Can you make a slice
Need
for
another
that?
set of certificates for the golf club turning club.
I just cut it off with a hacksaw and epoxied the bit in there, and works fine.
We're gonna have so many clubs that we ain't gonna know what to do.
Got to get a co-host just to do the logos. Beautiful, Bob. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Shortage hits America.
Can I ask, what is the overall height of these wig stands?
About 13 inches.
Yeah, 13 to 15 inches tall.
Well, I hit that right on. I'm 14.
All right. I got a note up here. Bob Grinstead out of Texas is with us tonight. Bob, you got to talk a little bit.
Yeah, here I am. Can you pick me up now?
Yes, sir. I
A
can.
little hoarse tonight from all the allergies, but anyway, you see me yet?
I got you, sir. You're on. Well, wait, I thought you were on.
I'm looking at you. There we go. Anyway, I got a piece of ambrosia maple. And,
Oh, that's beautiful.
turned out a real pretty little platter here.
That's gorgeous.
But yeah, I think it turned out real good. So anyway, I like it. That's about it.
Somehow I got muted just a moment ago. All right, I'm back again. Joe Klein out of Metairie. We were talking about Joe a little while ago. Joe, you got
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you, Joe.
Okay. I followed Ronnie's lead and I made a wig stand, and I'm also in the 2x4 club now because this, well, it was a 2x8. I have made a total of 8 domes, 8 bottoms, and I have 1 spindle done. I am working on the other 7 spindles. I've also already contacted the local hospital, and she wants 12 of them. And talking to her, she was tickled pink to get them, to be getting them. And she actually gave me contact information for 2 other local hospitals. I just can't turn them out fast enough.
Well,
Great job, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great, Joe.
Who do you talk do at the hospitals?
I call the oncology department, and I actually talked to the head of the department, and she's the one that gave me, she's the one wanting it, and she also gave me the phone numbers and contact names of 2 other local hospitals. So if you just call the oncology department, they'll be able to help you.
All right, thank you.
You do a great job, Joe. Joe, stick around, buddy. I think you said it's out of 2x4.
It sure is.
Okay, I think you've scored that one. There you go. You're in the 2x4 turning team.
Johnny,
Alrighty.
I think we can get hold of our local hospital here in Ocean Springs and do something.
Eddie?
Yeah, so.
Eddie?
Go ahead, Ronnie.
You got to put him into the Wigstand club too.
Putting a lot of work on him there, Ronnie.
Yeah, I was going to say there's only so much Eddie can do at once.
Well, somebody's got to stop muting me because that's all I'm getting right now. So I'm giving it in.
Maybe we're trying to tell you something.
Yeah, maybe that's for a purpose.
Maybe that's management's muting him.
Oh boy, you know she does that. You know, at a clinic this morning, I made a comment about something, and she said, you know, just stop me dead in my tracks. There you go, Joe. I think I spelled it wrong.
Joe, the Wigstand warrior.
But I spelled it wrong, Joe. All right, but thank you, sir. Appreciate your input there. This thing is it's a challenge. It's a fun operation that you can do to help people out. Rick Barnes is up next. Rick, talk to me, sir.
Hey, Eddie. Thanks for calling on me.
Yes, sir.
I'm here.
I got to get back to you.
Okay.
All right, you're up.
There I am. Okay. Well, I've been turning some elm wood this week. Made some platters out of them. They came out pretty nice for an old guy. But this was benefacted to me by a fella that has a little sawmill. He cut the wood out to make a shelf. Didn't realize it was going to shrink on him too bad. But this wood came from a elm tree right down the street in front of the high school from my house. So I know where it came from, and I really enjoyed doing it.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Beautiful work. I like
Thank
the
you.
grain. I like the grain relief on those platters.
Yeah, it was kind of funny grain. The lighter color seemed to suck in every time I'd cut it. And it's kind of a wavy, but it's smooth.
It's a good look. It's a good looking piece. That's all I got to say. It's a good looking piece.
Thank you.
Great.
All right.
Very nice.
Right now, we're going to hold gallery for a few moments. In a few minutes, we're going to go to Canada, and Cade Bolger is going to be with us. He's going to do a little spurite with a skew for us, and that's an interesting demonstration. But before then, I need to go to our safety director, Jeff, and get us our safety for tonight. Safety program. Jeff, talk to me.
All right. Hey, everybody. Good evening.
Oh, look, he combed his hair, folks.
Afterwards.
Look, he combed his
I
hair.
cut my hair. You got paid by the ounce, man. All right. Tonight, let's talk about jewelry. Jewelry off, rings, necklaces, anything like that. Get it off. Phone out of the pocket. Put it on silent. So, if you're working over something, it doesn't slip out of your pocket. Doesn't start ringing, disturb you while you're working. I know we talked about fire extinguishers. Kate brought it up. Fire safety 101. Know your fire extinguisher. Know how to use it. Know the types. Plan your escape. If you have a fire, think about it. How are you going to get out? Smoke detectors. Very careful.
Whoa, don't jump on it, folks. He covered the safety program. Go ahead, Jeff.
No problem. Smoke detectors, daylight savings time. They always tell you if you have replaceable batteries, replace them both twice a year. If not, check them. I've seen a lot of, a few shops that have fires lately. Check your insurance before you have a fire. Make sure, that you're insured. Make sure you have receipts. Make sure you have inventory, video, pictures, stuff like that. Had a buddy, woke up middle of the night. Thank God he woke up. The whole family was in the house. Heard some weird noise out there, like 4 o'clock in the morning. The shop pretty far away from the house was on fire, had the back of the house on fire, and it was only one way out. And luckily he woke up, got everybody out. Then the fire engines couldn't get to it because it was icy. They had to run all the hoses up the driveway. So again, think about that stuff. Check your toasters. I had one with a bunch of smoke coming out the other day. Too many crumbs. Late start. Stay out of the firing zone. Up slow at first, and keep the tail stuck up for support as long as you can. Natural ledge when you're turning, things with bark. Listen.
Whoa.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, natural. If you're doing stuff with bark on, and just take easy cuts until you get that bark off, if that's what you want. If you get hit with a piece of bark, a couple inch square piece of bark, even if you got a face mask, it's probably gonna hurt. And then we got the live center. I think we saw this last week about the live center. Everybody's got these live centers. This one happens to be a one-way. It's got the 3/4 inch. You got the rubber foot on the back. If you can't take it out, just put it on there. Don't bump your elbow on it, and then take a couple months for it to heal. I'd probably throw a string on it, just have it dangle when you don't need it, and put it on when you don't need it. Also, they came in white, so it's not going to mark up stuff. You need to do that. All right, everybody be safe out there, and may the bevel be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm going to throw a little something on that. Ronnie, I'm going to come to you right now. Ronnie?
I'm here.
All right, tell us what happened with the piece of wood you turned this. I'm trying to get back to Ronnie. There he is. You turned something, and you and I were talking about this yesterday because we both saw demonstrations where the demonstrator didn't have any face protection at all.
In fact, this week means that I've been turning all these Wigstands with these 2x4s. I've had 3 good-sized pieces of wood on 3 different pieces come off, and hit me right in the face shield. And every time I'm saying, thank goodness I had my face shield on. So 3 times in 1 week.
And it wasn't me on the sidelines throwing anything at you. You got to mention that, okay?
If everybody could just pause for a moment and allow Brenda to give Ronnie a hard time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Brenda, go ahead, please.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Oh, we lost Brenda.
He's going to let this moment pass.
Yeah. She
Brenda
stepped away.
stepped away for a few minutes.
Yeah, she signed out a little while ago.
Well, I'm sorry she's not.
While we're waiting on
Yeah, I'm
Brenda,
glad
I will add one thing, Eddie. You're talking about that bark, Jeff. I've got a piece of bark about 10 inches long and about 4 inches across stuck in my ceiling, which I will leave it there just as a reminder of just what can happen. And it literally stuck in the ceiling.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad Ronnie brought that up too. Sometimes you see people had accidents and they got hurt, and you say, well, a face shield probably would have helped. But if you're wearing a face shield, you still get hurt. You did the best you can. Thank you.
You gotta look that way.
What I was saying a couple minutes ago.
That's good. That's good right there.
That wasn't supposed to pop up right then. I don't know what happened, but it's there.
I was saying a couple minutes ago, it wasn't the whole entire piece coming off the lathe. It was pieces of the wood breaking up. So I guess I deserve that right there.
Yeah. We talked about it. We talked about it. You earned it, bud.
Just play it with pride, Ronnie.
There you go. You got to take it
And
on.
Ronnie, did you? Yeah,
Okay.
Ronnie, did you hear something right when the broke pieces off?
I'm sorry. What was that?
Yeah, did you hear something? The piece started breaking off. Again, listening with your ears, and something changed. Cut. All of a sudden, whack, whack.
No,
That's what it's important to.
All of a sudden, before I even realized it, it had already hit me in the face shield and was on the ground. But I'm talking about small pieces. It wasn't the whole piece of wood coming off.
Yeah, but I'm talking about your eyes.
Yeah, that too.
Exactly.
I know. I watch a lot of these accidents on Facebook, and a lot of these guys, they say, like the worst, hurting accident that happened just from a small piece, like a bottle stopper. Darn thing broke off and hit him in the forehead. Wasn't wearing a face shield, And I was like, you'd think a big piece of wood, but a small piece of wood's, spinning pretty fast. You think, a couple 2-inch piece of wood, somebody throw it and hit you in the head. A lot better than a shotgun shell, but still it hurts.
Hey, if it hits your reading glasses and you bought them at Winn-Dixie, it's going to crack them, and guess what? It's going to go in your face.
It don't take much to take out an eyeball.
Oh, it sure don't. But and you pay for it for the rest of your life.
I know people who turn with both safety glasses and a face shield on for those reasons. Exactly.
I do.
Yeah, I've turned a fair number of natural edge pieces, and I've had big hunks of bark come off and whack me. I had 8-inch square piece of bark come off and hit me right in the chest and push me back, and thank God I had the face shield on.
Yep.
I had a piece of bark hit me in my shoulder, and my shoulder was hard to move for weeks, and it left a bruise. It looked like someone hauled off and punched me as hard as they possibly could. It was like purple yellow bruise. And like you said, there was a sound, but it happened so fast, and I went through and peeled off all the bark as I possibly could that was loose, and I kept stopping, and I was being as safe as I possibly could, knowing that I didn't want to, I'm a little girl. There's it doesn't take much to knock me down. So and it was so quick, like Ronnie had explained, that it was just by the time it hit him, there was no time for sound. So sometimes it happens, and just doing the best you can to be safe is your best protection. And that sometimes you're just going to have to take a hit, because that's just how it happens. It's horrible, but that's the dangers. That's why this, someone said to me, or maybe it was you, Eddie, is respect all your tools and your equipment, because it doesn't respect you back.
You don't buy it. There's no respect guarantee comes with the tools.
That's right. They don't respect you back. So.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Good to see you. Nice hat. All right. I'm
Sometimes.
Hold on. Well, give me one moment, please. It's coming up on 7 o'clock, and I got to mention that Kay Bolger is going to do a demonstration for us. He's coming out of Canada. He's in the shop right now, but he's got an inclusive video on and a free demo on his YouTube channel, and he's also got a complimentary Wigstand demo. It's Monday, May 2nd at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Doug Rowe likes when we say standard time. And seats limited to 100. If you want details, you got to go to cadebolger.com, then look for shop, complimentary interactive remote demonstration, yada, yada, and you'll get it. And I hope you enjoy it. I tell you what, he's an awesome demonstrator. I had somebody make a comment a minute ago and cut him off. From there, we're going to go to Kate. What's up? Who did I cut off?
Eddie, Rick Barnes here. I wasn't going to show this, but even though I was wearing my face shield, this is what can happen when something comes off the lathe.
You got to pull it back towards you.
We can't
I don't know whether you can see it.
It won't. The cameras won't allow us to see.
Yeah, it's not going to allow. But anyway, I had a piece of elm on the lathe, and it came loose. Had the face shield on, hit me in the forehead, destroyed my face shield. Had 2 black eyes and a big goose egg on the head. So I'm glad I had the face shield on, because it would have probably done a lot more damage without it.
I had a piece of black walnut ring my bell one time, and I swear that was and I had the shield on, but it rang my bell, and I had to go ask a neighbor. I stepped out of my shop and was just standing there. My neighbor sitting on the back steps, and he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Am I bleeding?" It hurt that bad that I couldn't tell. All right, we're going to Canada right now. This is Worldwide Wood Turners. It's April 21st, 2021, and this is a free club. No membership required, no requirements, no commitments, no hats, no shirts. Kim's got a nice hat, but that's not our hat. No shirts, nothing else. We got nothing to sell you. All we want to do is do wood turning with you, and we want you to be part of it, just like Cade. Cade came out of the shadows with us a while back, and he's here to do the demonstration tonight. Cade is up. Hey, buddy.
Hi, Eddie. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me again. Today, I'm going to do a quick little demo for you on turning a Spurdle with a Skew. So today, we'll be using a roughing gouge and a Skew to finish this project. I'll talk about the presentation of the tool, how to use the Skew. We'll turn a Spurdle. And it's a fairly quick project, so we could probably turn a Spurdle and a throwing dart as well. And then I already have my little target up here, and then I'll see if I can hit that target for you. So we'll have a little bit of fun today. So a Spurdle is a fancy stir stick. Originated in Scotland, and they would use a Spurdle or a wooden stir stick to stir their porridge. Now, the Italians have a version as well where they would turn their pastas and pasta sauces. It's basically a wood stir stick, can be shaped and beautified in any way, tapered with a rounded end so you don't scratch any of your pottery or any of your kitchenware. Now, when we think of making a spindle, we also need to think of the type of wood we're going to use. Now, this is oak, red oak. It's very porous. It has open grain. So this wouldn't be ideal to use this for a Spurdle because it will absorb some of the food, some of the oils, some of the stuff that you stir it with. So this would be more like a wand. I would sell this as a wand to a kid at a craft fair. Now, the Spurdles have similar shapes because I do them in a production run. I sell them as Spurdles, but also kids will buy them as wands, or boys will buy them as swords and hit each other with them. So the oak and red oak are specifically wands. Something out of walnut, again, I wouldn't use for a Spurdle because if someone has a nut allergy, it might transfer to the food, giving them an allergic reaction. So again, the walnut would have either a disclaimer saying nut allergy possibility, but to avoid any liability, I would likely just make these for wands for kids. So the wood I use for turning Spurdles are predominantly made out of hard, tight grain woods. So this is cherry. These are turned out of cherry. And this one is roasted maple, roasted curly maple. So this will have some really nice finish when I put some oil on it. When I finish a Spurdle, I only put a thinned oil on it, usually a linseed oil or a tung oil, maybe 1 or 2 coats, and then I leave it natural from there. I will put a beeswax finish on it after that, and at that, the customer is then responsible for maintaining it or waxing it or re-oiling it. Also, similar shapes to the Spurdle, I also make throwing darts or throwing spikes. Now these are made out of cherry and oak. I turned these this afternoon and did a couple practice runs, practice throws, and this is shaped just like a Spurdle. Now when you do a throwing dart, it's much better to have that tapered end. So as you throw this and release it, it has a nice easy release into the target. And we don't really need to talk much about throwing darts, but we're going to turn one after we turn a Spurdle. So these are all turned between centers with my spur drive and my live center. All material is prepared at this piece of maple is 1.5 by 1.5. The cherry is roughly 1 inch by 1 inch, cut square. The length, I don't even know the length. I just cut them to what I thought a Spurdle should be long enough so you're not burning your hands with the steam. Now this is red oak. Now I wouldn't use this for a Spurdle, but I would use it for a throwing dart or a wand. Again, 1 inch by 1 inch roughly. First thing we need to do here, I'll tell you the length. I have a tape measure here. Everyone can hear me okay? No interruptions?
It's gone fine, sir. A lot of folks have got their systems unmuted. And I'm trying to get to where I can mute everybody and bring you back on, but I hadn't got that worked out yet.
Okay, no problem. So the material here is cut to 1.5 feet in length. About 1.25 inches by 1.25 inches. It doesn't have to be exact because it's round after you turn it on the lathe. All right, the tool I'm going to be using today is a skew. Now the skew I prefer is a slight radius skew. There's different skews on the market. You have a round skew, a straight-sided skew, and a slight radius skew. When it comes to your skew, it really comes down to the preference of the wood turner. Now on my skew, you can see there's a little micro bevel because every time I use this, I don't go to the grinder. I hone my skew. People say, why would you hone your skew when it only takes seconds to go to the grinder? Well, it only takes seconds to hone it with a honing card, and I'm not removing metal, excessive amounts of metal. So believe it or not, this skew is over 11 years old, and I might have only lost maybe 1.5 inches. So honing will severely last your tools, will make your tools last a lot longer. Now this is a Benjamin's Best skew. It's not the best steel, it's not the worst steel, but it is a relatively reasonable entry-level type tool. And I use this in my demonstrations because you don't have to have the best of the best. It's not the tool that makes the turner, it's the turner that makes the turner. So really, as long as you have that angle right, you could use a knife as a skew. As long as you ride that on that angle, as it cuts on that angled cut, just the same as a skew would cut, okay? So it's all about the presentation and the way you use that tool. So first off, I'll remove these. We'll mount some wood in between centers. We'll turn a spurdle, and then we'll turn a throwing spike, and then I'll throw it and see if I can hit a target. Okay, so the spurdle, first things first, I'm not going to use oak because it's too porous. I would use either brown maple or cherry. I'm going to use cherry today. Find your centers, of course, with a center finder. Now, you can take a ruler and go corner to corner, corner to corner, or you can use a center finder, which I use. Now I find the centers on all 4 corners just in case this piece isn't perfectly square. As we can see there, it's not perfectly square. So by finding your centers on all 4 corners, it enables you to find perfect dead center every time. You're not guessing the difference, okay? Do the same on both sides. And we can see, again, it wasn't perfectly square. Now I've found my dead centers on both sides. I take an awl, I split the difference, and I make a small pinhole in those center marks. The reason I do that is because it's very easy to center afterwards. Now you see how easy that was? It stayed in the hole. This pin stayed in the hole as I brought up this end. If I didn't have those pinholes, I would be eyeballing to line up the center here to keep it in position, but then trying to balance this end as I brought up this end, it can be a bit of a balancing act. But in small stock, it's not really as crucial. You see, when you start getting into banister railings and table legs, when this distance isn't a foot, it's more like 3 feet, it compounds and you could be chasing your tail, trying to keep this perfectly centered as we bring this up center. But by having those pinholes, it finds center every time and it stays where it needs to be while I lock down my tailstock and I tighten my quill to bring that cup up to have pressure on that wood, which forces the wood into my spur drive. Now you want to have an ample bite. by that spur drive, because that is what's going to drive this piece of wood safely and efficiently. But more importantly, that's also what's going to keep this on the lathe if we're too aggressive, or if we get a catch, or if we present that skew wrongly, it slams down and gives us a catch. It will let you know what you did wrong. So we really need that to have an ample bite to drive this safely, efficiently, but more importantly, keep it on the lathe. So a good thing to do is sometimes lock your headstock in place, give this a little bit of a shake. That allows those jaw teeth to embed into that wood that much further. Give your tailstock an extra little 1/8 of an inch turn, embedding those teeth that much further, okay? Now, you don't want too much pressure, because depending how thin we go, if we have too much pressure, this will start to whip on us. So we want to have just enough pressure to hold this in between centers so we can turn this without having excessive whip. But there are different things you can do to combat that, and I'll show you that today, okay? I'm going to be wearing earplugs today because wood turners often go deaf due to the sound of the motor and the chatter of the tool. Good thing I just checked that wheel to make sure my belt wasn't locked before I started that lathe. It would have squealed at me and it might have flattened one of my belts. So if there are any questions, yell them out. I'll be able to hear you. I'll stop the lathe, I'll take an earplug out, and I can answer your question, or we can save them till the end too. It won't be too long of a demonstration. Now, the first thing I do is I set up my tool rest. And I guess this would be a better angle for setting up my tool rest. Now, when I set up my tool rest, I set it up parallel to that wood corner. Now, you don't want to be too close in case this is out of balance and not perfectly square, that when I spin it, it hits one of these corners. Now, but when we always set up our tool rest, we always give the piece of wood a spin, because we don't want to just start the lathe, have one of these corners hit the tool rest, and then we have airborne wood that can come up and smack us in the forehead. It'll wake you up. Also, we don't really stand in that line of fire when we turn. We're off to one side or the other, so if it did come off, it might hit your shoulder, it might hit your chest, but it's not going to hit your neck, your face, your jaw, your eyes, and whatnot. Always keep your face out of that line of fire, okay? Now, to start off, I'm going to round this with my roughing gouge, spindle roughing gouge. So spindle roughing gouge is only used to rough spindle stock round, square stock round as fast as you can. It's not a bowl roughing gouge, it's a spindle roughing gouge. So we never use this on a bowl, only spindles, okay? So when I use a gouge, I am using this gouge cutting at center, so my tool rest is below center as I make that cut, okay? We can see the height here. So as my tool is on the tool rest, in the far left corner, you can see I'm cutting at center to my live center, okay? Just move this a bit there. There we are. Perfect. Okay, so now when we start roughing the piece, I'm going to throw my earplugs on, throw my face shield on. And whenever we start the lathe, we always stand off to one side or the other. Slow down the speed of the lathe, start the lathe. Oh, I guess I better turn it on first. That might help. So turn the speed of the lathe down. The project I was turning before, I was probably at 1400, so I turn it down to 7. start the lathe. I'm not standing anywhere within that line of fire. Now I'm listening for a click, a crack, a wobble. It sounds like it's running really true. I don't hear any wobble, any hum, any clicks or cracks, so I know it's structurally sound wood. If I did hear any of that, I would shut down and I would then inspect the wood again. Inspect it for any cracks, any hairline cracks, any defects. Is it mounted between centers? Is it running true? It is, so I don't need to adjust it. Okay. Now, I have it mounted safely and properly in the lathe. Now it is a safe time for me to ramp up that speed to a speed that I feel comfortable with. People ask me what speed I turn at, and I tell them, right now I'm turning at 1100. But I always recommend turn at a speed that you feel comfortable turning at. Okay, everyone can still hear me with my face
We got
shield
you.
on?
We got you, bud. We got you.
Good, good. So now the first thing we do is we always anchor this tool to the tool rest before we engage that timber. Because if we don't, it'll hit the wood, it'll slam down to the tool rest, and you hope your hands or fingers aren't underneath it. It doesn't feel good, okay? So always anchor, ride the bevel. It's not cutting. Now we lift the handle to initiate the cut. Now we can see the shavings. Now we lock this into our hip, anchor it, and we move our body back and forth. Now this is what they call the wood turner dance. It's a lot better to lock those in, anchor it to your body and move your legs, because if I'm out here just using my arms all day, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to be fatigued. Your arms will get tired. And when we get tired and fatigued, that's when accidents happen. So let your legs do most of that work. Okay? Anchor, bevel, tilt it up. Now I can check to see if that's round by taking my tool and resting on top of the timber. Now it's lying flat, it's not flopping all over the place. So I know that this is running true. If my tool was bouncing all over the place, I would know that I needed to do one more pass to make that piece round, okay? I don't recommend taking your fingers and putting them on the wood, because if you hit a corner, it will jam your finger like a basketball or a football. But more importantly, you don't want to get thrown down in between the steel and the wood. The steel will cut, the wood will burn. Now it's okay to remove her tool rest, but always shut the lathe off first, okay? Now I'm using the skew. So when I use the skew, you want to be riding that bevel at 11 o'clock. Now we'll switch cameras. Now think of this, if this on the end here was a clock face, we'll say this is the end of our spindle. Now if this was a clock face, this would be 12 o'clock. When we're turning, we want to be riding across that timber at 11 o'clock. And as that diameter gets smaller, you need to adjust your tool rest. So now my tool rest is above center. So now when I use this tool, I am planing across the timber at 11 o'clock to that clock face. Okay. Now the first cut I'm going to do is a planing cut. Now your planing cut, you ride on one of these corners. So if I'm going right to left, I'm on this corner and my toe is facing up, my heel is facing down. Now the high side's your toe, the low side's the heel. So if I have the heel down, I'm on that opposing corner and I'm planing across at 11 o'clock. Now if I'm going left to right, I switch it. Now I'm on the other corner, my toe is up, my heel is down, and I ride across the timber at 11 o'clock. Now that is a planing cut. I'm planing across the fibers, giving me a nice finishable finished surface. Okay, and I'll do that now. So if I'm going right to left, anchor the tool, bring it back, line up the bevel.
Face shield's in the way.
Sorry, Eddie, did I hear something?
I always see the top of your face shield. You put your head out too far.
Oh, okay, thanks. Okay. Okay. So now when I use this tool, the cutting angle is 45 degrees to the wood. The tool steel is 45 degrees to your tool rest. I'm cutting within that bottom third, that little sweet spot of that tool, and I ride across in this direction. So it's good to ride the bevel, bring it back, get that 45-degree angle. Now it starts to cut. Now I anchor it to my hip, and I ride that bevel across that surface. You can see I'm cutting in that bottom third. Now that is a finishing cut. You can see the difference between my roughing gouge and my planed skew cut. Much more sanding, far less sanding. Now if I come back this way, it's good to become ambidextrous and switch hands, because sometimes the headstock can get in the way and it's quite awkward to stand over here and do it right-handed. So it's good to train yourself left hand. Find that sweet spot, ride that bevel, and plane across that surface. Okay. Now you can also do this with the toe. The only thing is, if I do it with the toe, I still need that 45-degree angle. So now the tool steel is more like, I don't know, 30 degrees, maybe 25 degrees to the tool rest. And I am still cutting in that bottom third. Okay, and so forth if I were to go this way as well. Slow and steady, let the tool do the work, let the tool do the cutting. We don't need to force it, because that's when you might run into surprises, go uphill, come under those fibers. But now we have a really nice finish on that piece of cherry. I might not even need to sand it, or I could start sanding and finish sanding at 320. Excuse me. So now we have our spindle round. Now we need to divide this into divide where our handle is going to be, where the taper is going to be. but we need to account for our live center pin. So we know that goes in maybe 1/4 inch, and the pin from our spur drive goes in 1/4 inch. So these two pieces are going to be scrap. Okay. So the first thing I do is I enter with the toe, and I just make an entry stop cut. Now I suppose you could do that with the heel. The only thing is, if we did that cut with the heel, we can't see over top of the toe, and we don't know exactly where it's cutting. And if we wiggle it slightly, skate across our piece, and we just created a beautiful spiral design we didn't want to create. Okay? Now I can show you how that spiral design happens too. Now if I'm planing across that surface, you want to stay on that bevel. The reason that spiral design happens is because I lift the tool up off of that bevel. Now we might be able to see that here. So if I'm planing across, I lift up off that bevel, skates away back in that direction. The same thing if I were to come this way. If I am turning, if I creep up off that bevel, it shoots me back in this direction. Okay. So if I'm turning, coming across, I lift off that bevel, it skated away on me. If I come across in this direction, come off that bevel, it skated away on me, right? That is how that spiral design happens. You want to stay on that bevel, stay within that sweet spot, and just allow that tool to do the cutting for you, okay? So I always use the toe to make my entry cut because I can see over the heel. So I line it up with the line and I just lift the tool handle. All I'm doing in that cut is entering in and out, nice and quick, because that is the thinnest part of this steel. We don't want to keep it in that wood for too long because it will start to blue, it'll lose its temper, you'll have to sharpen it. So whenever I make those cuts, it's a quick entry in and out, in and out, in and out, okay? And I do that here as well, okay? Now I want to create a series of V cuts to remove the material to allow me to get in there to create the taper, but to also shape my beads and my thistle on top. So whenever I do a V cut, okay, I enter, exit. I'm still in that starting position. Now all I do, 45-degree angle, and I just lift the handle again. Lift the handle. To create that series of V cuts. Now I'll switch to this camera and I'll do it the opposite way. So I stay in that position, move here, and I just lift the handle. I go 45 this way, enter with the tip, and I just lift the handle. Now whenever I do this cut, I'm riding that bevel within that bottom third, that little sweet spot. We don't want to creep up to that center line and cut, because if we do, it's going to catch that corner and it's going to skate away on us this way, creating another beautiful spiral design that we don't like to see. So I do the same series of V cuts over here, starting at my starting point, 45, just lift the handle. Again. Now when we make those V cuts, you want to make sure you enter on that corner or at that 45 with the tip. Ride that bevel down. If I try and enter and I'm offside slightly, it's going to skate on me. Or if I'm this way, oh, it's going to skate on me that way. Because I'm not entering straight on square to that surface, I'm cutting in on an angle, which is going to skate across that curved surface, following the curve of your skew, shooting you in a direction that you have it angled at. Okay, so we keep that straight, 45, lift the tool handle. Again, I can do it here, V-cut. And here I'm just going to do a cut to that line because I want that undercut. So you can make this cut with the heel and cut downhill. The only thing is it's hard to see that heel when we contact that wall. So it's much better using the toe because we can see exactly what it's doing at all times. Okay, now we have a rough shape.
You already had a
This is
bag
going to
made,
be
huh?
the spurdle and the taper down to the business end where we do all our stirring. Okay. Up here, we're going to have a thistle, a bead or a shape of some kind, and then a bead. You can make these shapes however you like. It just comes down to preference. Okay. And it's really good practice for your skew techniques, doing beads, coves, valleys, creating a taper. So the first thing I start with is the thistle. I'm going to switch to this camera angle so it's not too busy. And I start with the toe up, and I'm cutting downhill to where I created those series of V cuts, stopping at the bottom of that V. Now, when you use your skew, it looks like I'm about to play some pool. You don't have to have a death grip on your skew, because if you do, it's a lot harder to move and maneuver it easily. I do understand why people do get a death grip on a skew in anticipation of that skate away or that catch. Now, one thing you always want to do is, if I am cutting in that bottom third, I am supported to make that cut in that bottom third. So I am riding this corner and I'm cutting in that bottom third. I'm not going to try and cut with that center point or the toe because I am not supported to make that cut there. If I transfer that cut from the bottom third to the center line or above, it's going to catch that wood and it's going to slam your tool down, digging that toe into the wood, giving you a okay? That is because I tried to use a side that wasn't directly supported by the tool rest. If I wanted to use the toe, I would flip it and I would use it so it's supported directly on the tool rest to make that cut. Okay? Now here I'm going to do another thistle, similar shape to this, and then a bead, and then create my taper. So again, I ride the bevel, cutting with that bottom third, and I am stopping where I created that stop cut. Okay? Anything else I'll clean up when I round that corner. Now I can round the tops of these thistles, similar to this shape here. Okay. Now to do a bead, you lie the tool, you're always on that corner, or this corner. Now that corner is your fulcrum, or your pivot point to maneuver that tool to create that bead. Okay? The only thing is we still always stay within that bottom third. Align the tool, ride the bevel, line it up to that 45 degree. We enter with the heel, and now I come down and around that corner and finish at the bottom of that cut where I just lined the bottom of my thistle. Okay? Now I can clean that up with a cut this way. And all these cuts are slicing cuts. They're not scraping cuts. So it significantly reduces our sanding, if any. This portion we can do now. Again, line up. You can enter with the tip of the toe. No, the tip of the heel. You can ride that bevel down to that third, stay there, and just cascade down and around that corner. Now, sometimes that's a tricky cut using the heel because as we come down and across, we lose sight of that heel. Sometimes, if you can't see it, you wiggle the tool and then catch, and it skates away in this direction because the curve catches that high side corner, throwing it back in that direction. If I did it this way, the curve of my skew would throw this right back into my spur drive. Okay. Now that's pretty much done. I don't need to touch that yet. Now I want to do the bead. But on the contrary there, where if I come across and I'm using the heel and I can't see the heel, when I first started to use the skew and I was learning the skew, I was taught to cut beads in this fashion. But I had one hell of a time staying on that bevel, riding that bevel down and around that corner because I would lose sight of the heel. So you can flip the tool and you can make that cut with the toe. This way, you can see exactly what you're doing at all times. You're riding the bevel, you're cutting with that bottom third, and you're pivoting up and around that corner. Just like that, okay? Until I forced myself to learn to do it with the heel down. And then at that point, I understood why I'm getting catches. It all comes down to the way you present the tool and how you ride that bevel. You stay on the bevel because the moment you come off that bevel, it will skate. Now, when we do a bead, over time, you won't have to mark that center line. But it is good practice in the beginning to mark that center line because if you can start on this side of that center line, ride that bevel up and around that corner and do the same on this side without removing that center line, and you have matching curves, you're off to the races. Now that'll be one of the hardest things to do because if you're right-handed, you'll find your left side of your bead is much easier to complete than the left side, unless you become ambidextrous or you contort your body over here on this side of the tool rest to make that cut right-handed. Okay. Now when we do a bead, I ride the bevel and I ride it just on the left side of that line. Once I have that cut, I'm getting sawdust with the bottom third. I then hold it in place, and I cut down and around that curve. I hit the bottom of my thistle, that's okay. I can clean it up later. Now I want to match that curve here, so I pick up the cut, remove that sharp corner, down and around that corner, into that to create that bead. Now I can clean this and this up with my toe, giving me that crisp corner. And that crisp corner there. Now I can also, I have a bit of a lopsided curve. This curve is less, the right side of the curve is steeper than the left side of the curve. So I need to blend the two. That is when I start removing that center line to blend those two curves to match one another. And that will all come with practice and confidence. Here we go. Now my skew is getting dull. So I'm going to just hit it with a card hone. I start on one corner flat and I pull it towards me, coming across to the toe. Now slow down as you exit because we don't want to skate down and across our hand. And we do it on the opposite side too. Okay. Now we're sharp again. Oh, look at that. How a sharp tool cuts. And it only took seconds, just like it only takes seconds to go to the grinder. But I would have lost maybe a millimeter of steel if I went to the grinder. I might have lost a micron using my card hone. Okay, there. Now that's pretty good. You can be compulsive about creating those curves and matching them perfectly, but sandpaper is still a cutting tool and you can blend anything in between. I mean, the Skew does significantly cut down your sanding by far, if any. But if you have some, even with that little slight tool mark, I can start sanding and finish sanding. Now, I could do this taper solely with my Skew. It would take longer than if I used a roughing gouge. So I use a roughing gouge to create that taper, and then my final pass is with the Skew to give me that nice finish. So I start and stop sanding at 320. If I were to do it with the roughing gouge and start sanding, I'd have to start sanding at 180. But by doing that one pass with the Skew, it does severely reduce your sanding. So since I'm using the roughing gouge, I need to lower my tool rest below center again. So I am riding the bevel and I'm riding the bevel above center, but I'm cutting at that center line. Okay. Where am I? There I am. Okay, so just like before, we anchor. I'm gonna move this so I don't knock it on the floor. Freshly honed. Anchor, ride that bevel, lift the tool to initiate the cut. We see sawdust. And we do the wood turner dance. Now I'm being a little aggressive here because I still have ample thickness in the wood. As this gets thinner and thinner, I'll have to lighten up on my cut because it could get a whipping action. And if I get a whipping action, it's going to flex, come back, hit the tool twice as hard, and probably split in two pieces, bouncing off your face shield. Okay. Now I'm just creating a taper to start. I will refine that later with my skew. Now, if you are getting more resistance and you're getting flexing, it's because the gouge creates a lot more drag when you use this tool. There's a lot more surface area in contact with the wood, creating more drag, which gives you more vibration and more flex. Now, if I angle this tool like a skew, and I make those cuts like this, now I have less drag, less resistance on that wood, less flex, and a much nicer finish. Okay? Now you can make this as thin or as thick as you like. Just keep in mind, the thinner you go, the more whip you will create. So now I have a couple lumps and bumps created by my roughing gouge. I can go through slowly to remove those and blend those high sides. Okay. But we can hear it flexing. You can probably even see it slightly. So I don't want to be too aggressive with that tool. Now I'm going to use my skew for my final cut. So I bring that tool rest back up. So I'm above center and I'm cutting at 11 o'clock. Now the diameter has changed significantly. So really, to ride at 11 o'clock on this surface, my tool rest is exactly at center. Whereas before I was above center, so I was riding at 11 o'clock to this spindle height here. Is there any questions, sorry, in the chat? I saw... No? Alrighty, I'll just
We have
keep going.
some comments, but no questions. Let's roll right on through this thing.
Okay. Alrighty, so now my last pass will be with the skew. Now with the skew, this might flex on me. We can see it has some flex already. Now we want to ride that bevel, and if I only do it with the tool alone, this might flex coming back, catching the skew, might transfer to the toe, giving you a violent catch and breaking this in half. So one thing I do is I stick my tool behind the spindle here to support the flex in any way. I now hold my skew one-handed, supported by my forearm and my finger. I reach around with my thumb and I support that tool to make that cut. And this will give me a nice sanding. And I just glide across that surface to give me a nice finished surface. Okay. Now I have a nicer finish where I have minimal sanding. Now all I need to do now is round this and remove the piece from the lathe. Maybe do some light sanding. So I do another entry cut with my toe. Do a V cut. On either side.
Kate, somehow we got you muted, so will you unmute yourself? Kate? Kate, you with us still?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay,
Sorry.
now you're back. Somehow it muted. Never mind. Keep going.
Oh, must have got muted accidentally. But that's no problem.
No problem. We're back. We're rolling.
All right. All right. So I make my entry cut. I'm flat on this rectangular surface every time I make that entry cut. And then I angle 45 to that corner. Okay. 45 to this corner. And I now ride the bevel coming around that corner just as if it was a bead. Okay. Now I have that rounded curve on the bottom of my spindle, so that curve gets into the corner of those pots and pans without ruining, marking, or scratching your kitchenware. Now here, before I remove this more, I'm going to remove this to the same diameter, and we want to do this in steps. We don't want to remove 1 to a 16th off the hop, because as I remove this can be whipping around and it might break free. So we inch our way back to that 16th of an inch, and then we take the piece off the lathe. Now you can go to 1/8 of an inch, you can go to 1/4 inch. It's whatever you feel comfortable turning to. I feel comfortable going to a 16th. So I move over here. Now I need to remove some of the material here so I can get up and around that corner to shape the top of that thistle. Enter with the tip, ride that bevel down and around that corner, just like that. Now before I go any further, shut your lathe off before you move the tool rest. I would do some very light sanding there. This is 180. I had a couple spots where the skew went under the grain, giving me a little bit of tear out, but that's okay. This will go quick. Now I didn't have any tear out or anything on the top portion, so I can sand that at 240-ish. It is a utilitarian piece. It's functional, so it doesn't have to be pristine. It just has to be functional. I mean, you still want to see the nice wood grain without scratches across that grain. So take your time to do the sanding. But for a demo, I'm not going to do much sanding at all because it's no fun to watch me sand. And when I would sand, I would be wearing a full respirator and I would have my dust collection on. So that's good enough. This will be a wand and I'll give it to my neighbor's kid. He'll be happy whether it's scratched or not. Okay. So now at this point, I have my piece turned, shaped, sanded. Now I just need to reduce these to a pin to remove the piece, okay? And I do that with a series of V cuts in V cuts, and then I blend the shape and the curve, and then I part through. Okay, so I'm going to shape this end first. Up and around that corner. This one, I'll do some more series of V cuts so I can get in there around that corner, just removing the waste material that's driven by my spur drive so I can get up and around that corner. Okay. So now I'm down maybe a 1/16 on either side. Now, one thing I can do now is I can take my thin curve parting tool, which is right here. It's my fancy knife made into a thin curve parting tool. I now remove that Now I don't want to go all the way through just yet. Okay, here we go. Now I have 2 pins on either side holding this piece. So I do one very tiny cut with my skew and a tiny cut with my skew, and it just comes off just like that. It fell off, but that's okay. I just pushed a little hard in that final cut, but that's no big deal. At that point, I would just break that across the grain, because if I break it with the grain, it might go up under, making a hole underneath that surface. So I break it across the grain so it breaks above the surface, and all I do is blend that curve. And the same on the other side. There. And I would just blend that curve, and there we have our Spurdle.
That is a really nice project.
It's a really good project. It's very good for your tool control. Practice your cutting, your slicing, rather than scraping or plowing. And I mean, it's really good practice for all your tools: spindle gouges, roughing gouges, skew, all those fun things. So yeah, that's your Spurdle. And if you want, I could do one more doing the throwing spike, but it won't take as long because I won't explain as much. It would just be really seeing me do it, possibly in real time.
What do you think real time would be?
It'd be a little quicker because I wouldn't have to explain anything.
All right, let's rock.
Yeah,
Say
go
again?
for it. Go for it. I want to
Yeah,
see
rock
you
and
throw
roll.
something.
Rock and roll. I see Brenda's back with us tonight. I mean, she was gone for a little while. Can I do something for Brenda here while you're setting up? Cade?
Yep.
Well, I want to show Brenda something while you're setting up, sir, if you don't mind. I can.
Yeah, that's totally fine. No
Because
problem.
Brenda, we take everything around here so serious. And Ronnie had a little bobo this week, so we put Ronnie in the Brenda's Band-Aid Brigade. He's a charter member now, Brenda.
Yes, I came back just as you had that on the screen.
Okay.
I missed the story, but I caught that. Yeah.
Well,
Close that one, Brenda.
Yeah.
in on the story. I don't know that one yet.
Ronnie was turning something up too. The wood got a little aggressive on him, not him. The wood got a little aggressive, and Chip came out and bounced right off his mask. Because we were talking about doing your preventive, wearing your preventive protection gear and your BPE, and it worked out quite well for him at that one. All right, let's. I gotta get.
Now that that's been around the world.
At least once, maybe twice.
Exactly.
Can you go back to Cade, Eddie?
Yeah, let's go back to Cade. Cade, you're back up again, sir. You're muted. There you go. Nope.
I'm talking and you can't hear me. I guess I got to unmute myself again. But yep, it's all sharpened up again.
Just take seconds on a diamond card.
Yeah, few seconds with that diamond card, and I lost no steel at all.
Right? Steel on the floor,
your tools will last forever. I did get a Thompson gouge for Christmas, but the way this is going, I mean, that one will last me. I'll be taking that one with me.
Hey, Cade, what grid is that diamond card you used?
That diamond card, 600 mesh.
Thank you.
Yeah, 25 micron or 600 mesh. Yeah, and that is one I bought off Amazon. It's just called the Diamond Sharpening Card. Off Amazon, it was very reasonable, fairly inexpensive. I also have bought the Trend. Now the Trend card comes with 300 on one side and 600 on the other side. But this card, you're looking at probably $40, $50 Canadian. So 40 Canadian would be maybe 33 US. This one was under 20 bucks.
I'm not going to badmouth anybody's product, but if you think you can beat that at Harbor Freight, think about the quality of the tool you're getting, because it's getting big lumps on it. It might be rated 300, but if it's not done well, it'll be cutting at 200.
Yeah,
So
not all cards are made equally. I know I've bought a lesser quality one, and the diamond material that was attached to the metal portion of the card, it just peeled right off.
Yeah, I do notice that this one does wear much quicker than the Trend one. The reason I bought both of these was I had a Trend one and I used it all the time, but I put it somewhere, lost it. I went and bought both of these, and of course I found it. So I put the two Trend aside until this one is done before I go back to the Trend one. But I do notice that the area that I use excessively has worn away much more than the Trend one. So you do get what you pay for.
yeah, go cheap, get cheap. That's it.
Yeah. But I've been using this for probably, I don't know, 8 months. So for under 20 bucks, it's
What
still a good
brand was
bang
that,
for your
Cade?
buck, I guess. All right. Now let's make some chips, and I'll whip through this fairly quick. Now, when we do a throwing dart, I mean, this one I did with the Spurdle shape. It's a lot harder to throw because we have all these ribs. It's much easier to throw when you have a round surface or a slightly tapered surface, because it comes off your hand that much easier. It doesn't have all these lumps and bumps to throw it off as you throw it, okay? So I'm gonna do something similar to one of these.
Okay,
This
let's
one
go.
I experimented with this morning because the weight's on this end and it throws really nicely. But I've also made metal ones. I just make wood ones as well to practice with. Oh. So here's a set of metal ones. Okay. And here is another set of wooden ones. Now this is a bagakay, which is Philippines throwing weapon. They would hunt small game and birds and stuff with it. This is your Japanese throwing darts, which are much smaller, and they were used by samurais, and they would have them on their hip and throw them in battle.
So what distance are you throwing them, and why don't they rotate when you throw them?
Pardon, Matt? Sorry?
At what distance are you throwing them from, and why don't they rotate while you throw, in the air?
Well, you can throw them two ways. You can do a spin throw, or you can do a no spin throw.
Okay.
Now, if you do a spin throw, I need to calculate the length of the dart, the distance I am away from the target, and how many revolutions this is going to make before it sticks the target. So it's a little harder to do your spin throw.
Right.
But if you do a no spin, there's no calculations because it's thrown the same way every time. So a no spin throw.
I'm going to need to see that.
I'll show you.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
A no spin throw is thrown like a shuriken, like this. And the samurai would throw it like that, right? And then they release it, stroke the back, so it goes through the air and sticks into the target. Now, depending the distance you are away from that target, depends when I release this, whether it's released here or it's released here to hit the target. Because it's no spin, so it flies through the air like this. Now, the world record for a no spin throw is 30 meters into a target the size of my head, okay? The world record for a spin throw, I think, is 25 meters into a target the size of your head, okay? So.
Thank you for the details, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm working on this. Ronnie, put up your, see, Ronnie, I can see you from here. Put up your right hand and we'll try it. All right, and hold it there. It's coming.
Yeah, so here I'll turn this and then I'll throw those spikes at that target.
Okay, let's go. I have Paul Hannaby in the background for when we get this done. We're going to do a few moments of gallery because we have some stuff popping up, and then we'll probably do a look at that threaded box that Paul started with us last week. How's that?
Perfect. I look forward to seeing it. All right. So first thing, set up your tool rest below. We're going to use the rough and gouge quick. Oh. A little too aggressive, but that's okay.
While Dane's making these cuts and you can see it, I want to mention a couple of items here. This week, I caught Doug Miller's YouTube on doing stemware. It was very, very informative and very well done. If you hadn't seen it, look it up on YouTube, Doug Miller. Cade's got some videos on YouTube that are updated this week, and he's also got 2 demonstrations coming up. You can catch him. Josh Smith has created some coins with our wooden coins on his laser engraver. It tells about the club, how you can get onto it, join.
Oh, sorry. Annoying.
By riding that bevel, he's getting a slicing cut. You see that, folks? He's sliding on that bevel on rough and gouge.
Now you don't want the tip to be too pointy, because if it hits the ground, you don't want to have to resharpen the whole tip. So it's almost got a few tapers on it. So it's not too pointy that if it dulls, you lose the whole tip and you need to resand the whole tip. Excuse me. Nice tapered handle, runs off your hand really nicely. Okay, now we remove a little bit more over here. We're finding that tip, that point. Okay. Take that down to maybe a 16th. There. And take this down to about a 16th. About there. I would shut off the lathe, remove my tool rest. I'd sand this slightly so it removes, it flows out of your hand nicely. The handle is a little big and chunky for me, but it will throw the same. That's good enough for sanding. There we go. There we go. Almost there. One last pass. There. Now all we do is move your tool rest. That breaks off above the surface. We have a nice point. We break that across the grain, keeping our sharp point. I would now sand that off just to round it so I have a nice curve for my hand to flow out of as I release the throw. And there. Now I need to sharpen this slightly, and I do that with sandpaper. And if it hits the concrete floor, all I need to do is do this again. Okay. Now there is our throwing spike, much larger than I would normally make, but it will throw just the same. So over here is my little target. I'm going to sand on the opposite side of my shop, which is about 14 feet away. And I will throw these three, and we'll see if I can make them stick. I did earlier. Okay. So I'm going to do a no spin throw. So I'm over there and I am throwing like this, and I release it so it comes through the air into the target. That's the throw. I prefer a no spin throw because I don't have to calculate the distance, the revolutions before it hits the target. You can throw it from that side, this side, that side. The throw is always the same.
Sounds like it takes practice.
It's just
to get
harder
right.
to do. It's a
Sounds like
harder
it ta-
learning curve. Okay.
Sounds like it takes practice to get right.
Yeah, takes a lot of practice. Yeah. So here's one. It's another one. Oh, another one. Try those again.
I totally got to try that.
I think this is rather dangerous giving wood turner something sharp to throw.
Okay, can you swing your camera so we can see the release?
I don't think I want the wife to see this. I'll be dodging frying pans and these bullets.
Okay,
Yeah,
can you
I
swing
can move the camera so you see the release.
Yeah, don't make her a set of these, Ronnie. It's not a good idea.
No, I'm thinking the same thing. Thank goodness she's in the next room.
Exactly.
These would be great Mardi Gras throws.
So the release will be like this. Okay. That one missed. That one hit, but didn't stick. Of course, pressure.
Very
So that's the
educational.
release.
Ronnie, I'll make a couple steel ones and send them to your wife.
There we go. That's stuck. That's stuck. Got it.
Ronnie, you could just give her your skew and you would need to make one of these.
Yeah.
Cade, that
Quite
was
fun.
Right on, Cade.
Yeah, that was a fun demonstration and very
was.
informative.
Thank you.
We had somebody say, "Can you do that with
Thank
a
you,
skew?"
Cade.
And it was Brent asked, "Can you do it with skew?" Yes, that's excellent skew practice. You're looking at planing cuts, but you don't have to use the roughing gouge to rough it in. if you can do that with one tool, you get up there, the good sharp 3/4 inch wide skew.
You
Go
may
to
be talking
town.
about throwing your skew like that.
Oh, wow. I thought you meant, can you turn it with a skew?
Yeah, I want video. If you do that, Brent, I want video, man.
I have thrown my skew, but I don't
Thanks,
want
Kate.
it to hit this or go through this because then my stuff's there.
Thanks,
But I
Kate.
could
Great,
throw my
great demos,
little
Kate. Thank you.
jackknife here.
Throwing my skew too out of frustration.
Thank you, Cade. Very much appreciated, sir. And folks, see more of Cade's demonstrations. He's got them on his website, cadeboger.com. And that's where you can find him at. Cade, again, thank you, sir.
Thanks, everyone. Pleasure.
Great job, Cade.
Thanks, Cade.
Great job,
Thank
Kate.
you. Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Well done.
And that,
Very good.
and
Thank
that
you, Cade.
Good demo.
live- Worldwide Wood Turners, that's live and direct from Canada for us. I just saw him pop up there. Dave Rhodes, our webmaster, is with us tonight. Just for 1 second, I'm going to ask, he's made some changes, haven't you?
I have. I made a couple of new pages, and if you can help me, we can fill them out. I made a page that's going to list people that are doing pens, and I've got a page that is intended to list those folks that are making the what am I
Wig
thinking?
stand.
Thank
Wig
you,
stand.
wig stands. But I haven't got a lot of names on them yet. If you've got either a wig stand, or a pen that you made, please put it in the chat and I'll add you to the list. And from now on, I'll try to remember to write it down when I see you making a comment in the meetings, but I don't know who did things from the past. So
Okay.
let's add those to the chat.
Remember, folks, we have a contact sheet on our website, and remind you again that we are doing a, we're going to call it a challenge, but a couple of members showed us wig stands in the past. And last week, Ronnie Burnett, my co-host and cohort in this crime, he said, I want to turn some. And his daughter is in the medical profession, and he gave them to her. He can't give enough of them to her. He did 10 the other day. He's got 5 done this week. He's recruiting other folks. You saw 5 this evening from other turners. Where's yours? You saw it. It's a perfect 2x4 project. It's a way to use up scrap lumber. Remember, it doesn't have to match. It can be brown, blue, and green. I mean, any color, any shape, any wood you want to make them out of. And some of the details are available. Just look up wig stands, and there's sketches of them and details, but it's not that exact. Mr. Brown goes 14 inches. Somebody said, I got 13. The next guy said 15. They're not going to be challenged. That it's up to you what you want to turn. So Paul Hannaby last week did a little thing with us about with the threaded box. And Paul got almost all the way through it. We kind of ran short on time, and Paul is still with us tonight. Paul, you with us again?
I'm here, yeah.
Yep. All right. Do you have that box, sir?
I do, yes.
All right. Now you're up. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it ended up looking like.
Wow.
But
Nice.
I said it was Kingwood last week. I think it isn't. It did look sort of purpley, but within a day or two of me turning it, it sort of started to go orange. So I think it's Cocobolo.
Now, if folks, if you want to see good turning, let's see that top again. Point that top towards the camera, just the lid. That is turning. Look at that. No ripples, no tears, no bumps. There's no dips in the middle, no sharp points. That is turning. Not sanding, turning.
There's the bottom.
That is beautiful. That is so beautiful.
Very nice, Paul. It does look
no
like
runs, no
Cocobolo.
drips, no airs.
And look.
So there's a thread on the top.
Very good.
Wow.
Very nice. That's really nice.
Sweet.
I was
see,
thinking it
it's-
looked like cocoa last week, but then every now and then I'd see a little purple hue in it.
Yeah,
And I was thinking, okay, he's right. It's kingwood, but I think you're right. I think it's cocoa.
I think it's because of the color change since last week. I'm pretty sure it's Cocobolo. Yeah.
And folks, he did that threading on with us last week, and that's available online through our website. And a link to that is on our webpage, of all things. So if you want to see it, tune in. That is a beautiful piece of work, Paula. Beautiful.
Okay. I've got a couple of other things to show while we're here.
Well, while we're here, yes, sir.
Yep. That there is a back plate off a chuck. It's one of the old Axminster Super Precision chucks. And I had a problem with this one. It was running out by about 0.2 of a millimeter, and I checked it with a dial gauge, and it was actually, I think it was just made wrong when it was new. It was thicker one side than the other, so it hadn't bent. It was just made wrong. But they don't make them anymore, so Axminster couldn't really do anything about it. But I contacted a local engineering company, and all I wanted was this face, just skimming to level it really. They quoted me a ridiculous price, and I said I can buy a new one for a fraction of what you're quoting to do that for. So I said I'll probably just buy another one. But in the end, I thought, well, I'll have a go myself. So I put this on my lathe. I mean, it's obviously threaded to go straight on the spindle, so I just did that. I put it on the spindle, and I turned that section there, which is the bit that's running out, just using a scraper. I started off with a carbide scraper, and then did it just with an ordinary high-speed steel scraper. And now the run out is, well, it was about 0.2 of a millimeter. Now it's like 0.01. It's pretty close. And I'll check that against some of the others I've already got, and it's as good as the ones I've already got. So it's what I would say within tolerance now. So rather than throwing this away and buying another one, I actually managed to turn that myself, and save myself the expense of either getting somebody else to machine it or having to buy a new one.
Oh, is that
although the chucks aren't made anymore, I can still get these back plates, but yeah, just I thought you might be interested. And one other thing to show you as well is this. I was talking about it in a meeting earlier. It's a hollowing tool, but an unusual one. You see this bit on the end here is cranked like that, but if you look at it end on, what you've got it's like two fingers that come out, and the top one is effectively the guard, and the bottom one is the cutter. So you can adjust the engagement of the cutter by rotating it to adjust the position of the guard and the actual cutter there.
So the guard acts like a bevel.
Yeah, exactly. So the top, if you imagine that's cutting in a hole as a hollowing tool, you're running this top one effectively like the bevel, like you say, against the edge of the hole, and then by adjusting the angle of the tool, you'll bring the cutter in and out by rotating it. So it is quite controllable, but it's an unusual one. It's a Fur Major hollowing tool. They were designed by Melvin Fur Major, and it's unusual, but it does work. I just thought it might be of interest.
Great.
And potentially something you can make yourself. If you can do welding, you can certainly make that yourself, couldn't you?
All right, nice. All right, yeah, you've seen it now. Last couple of weeks, we've seen these ball mill rigs made up, and Ronnie did his this week, and I think his total expense was $20 with the golf club handle and the ball cutter, and put it together, and he put it all together in his own shop. Nothing fancy. Looks good. It is extremely useful. He's learning how to use it. We were talking this week. We see a lot of fellows turners show us a mug or a jar or a goblet that they turn. And because it's on end grain, and you have those grains come up, this is hard to cut, to come down here and get it right without wavering and tearing and all that. Well, that ball cutter will take such a scrape that when you look, you're watching it as it goes through. and then you can do the short sweep to the center. Same tool, no change in tools, no forcing a bit. I got this thing about forcing a bit. So if they're not really sharp, they'll destroy your work. So this won't destroy your work. And if you hold it right, Ronnie, did you drill with it also?
Yeah, I haven't really used it that much because I've been busy doing other things, but it looks like it's going to be a great tool to come across the bottom and to transition from the bottom to the side. And you got to remember, this is just it seems like this is a tool to be used lightly. You know, I don't think you're going to be hogging out with this. And it seems like it's going to be a great tool.
Yeah.
Especially if you make it from a golf club handle.
Right. Especially with the golf club handle, you know, you got to be very gentle with it, you know, so.
I use mine on the inside of boxes too. Like the box that Paul was just showing. I use it on a box like that.
That along with any other tool is practice. And if you don't understand how it works, don't go inside something and make it work. Go along the outside of something to see how it works. See how the cutter, how it actually cuts and how to slice. And you'll have a better understanding of what happens on the inside. And if you put what I call vertical reference, take a mark slot, put a black line or blue line, whatever, down the middle of that shaft. And when you finally find the sweet spot where it's slicing the way you want, take a look at where that mark is. If it's cocked over a little bit, cocked over the other way, but you'll still be able to gauge it, and your mind's eye will see that. So you're not guessing and gouging and working out a tear, because then you understand how it slices. All right. Kay did a great demo for us. Paul shared a great project with us. We've seen some gallery. Dane is with us tonight. He's going to get some more gallery lined up for us. But I got to remind you that May's challenge will be those wig stands. But if you turn them, go to our website and just type it in to Dave Rhodes and tell him I turned a wig stand. If you can, put a photograph in, because we want that stuff. We want to see how you're doing and what you're doing. Told you about Doug Miller's demonstration. It's on the website, on his website on YouTube. And I had one more thing here. Oh, we're still doing the Freedom Pen Challenge. Turn a pen, give it to a troop. That's the way to go about it. And I saw it on the chat. SWAT announced last week that they're starting registration again, or they have started registration again. And 3 or 4 folks in an email tonight said they could not get the proper link to do the registration. So if somebody from SWAT that has that link will put that link, not SWATturners.org, put the link to where we can get to registration, because I got to do it too. Just put it in our chat. It'll be there before you leave tonight, folks. Save the chat. Let's go to
Eddie?
Yes, sir.
With mention about SWAT, our local club said that they have not opened up the registration yet. They are working out a few more things before the registration is opened up to the public.
Okay, I didn't catch that. I thought when we talked to somebody with SWAT last week that day was, that day is today. So
well, they kind of going day by day right now. They trying to work it out with the people that they getting a haul from and the hotels around there.
okay, thank you, Ronnie. Appreciate that update. We will keep y'all up to date. I believe it's the world's greatest returning symposium, but that's my opinion. That's it. Dane, we got some gallery set up tonight.
Yes, sir, we do. Let's start things off with Brent in Wyoming.
Brent, you're on, sir.
How are y'all? So I got a defective bowl. I'm not sure what's wrong with it here. It's a juniper again, but it won't hold anything for some reason, and I can't quite figure it out.
At least you didn't make the funnel club with that one. That won't get you into the funnel club.
Not quite, but this is just a piece of scrap. It was a cut off from another log and such. And I was about to throw it in the firewood pile. So I thought maybe I'd throw it on a faceplate and just see what I could turn it into and such. And it was kind of fun. I managed to keep a little lichen on it. This thing probably been dead on the ground for 50 or 100 years or something, but it was a fun one. Then I got another defective bowl here. This is a cottonwood crotch. This thing was,
That's awesome.
fair to turn. It died with alcohol dyes, but this thing was really tough to turn. It turned out the center was rotten and such, and then I had problems with the finish and whatnot. And
Too bad you couldn't get it to shine.
Yeah, isn't there something?
Yeah.
Hey, look, guys, drool alert. Don't lean over your keyboard while you're drooling.
there's a lot of pressure on that, and actually that's kind of a screw up here. I was shooting just rattle can lacquer on it, and I ran out, so I mixed up a quart can of lacquer I had, thinned it up, and put it in a pre-val sprayer and sprayed that on, and they didn't react well. So I got all these little cracks in it here and such, and tried starting to sand them out, but decided just to call it a feature and just leave it there and such. So, but
design opportunity. That's it.
Exactly.
So. Yeah, really pretty.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brent. Appreciate that tonight, sir. All right, who's up, Dane?
Alfred's next. Alfred.
Alfred.
Hi, how you doing, guys?
All right,
Good.
what you got?
Yeah. I made a teapot.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. Very nice.
Painting.
Yeah.
Hold on, I got to turn my screen off. My wife might see that.
That's beautiful.
This is made out of cherry. I know if I can show you the inside, but the light is not that good. But anyway, it's made out of cherry, and it's the bottom. And the spout and the handle are turned separate. And then after I formed them, I glued pieces of sandpaper here on the side so that I can hone it so as to get the perfect fit here, both on the handle and on the spout too. And I used the way I painted this is with Joe Sonia iridescent paints. And what I do is I just put a blob of paint, and then I use an airbrush with no paint in it. I just use it for air and just move the paint around where I want. And I believe there is 3 different colors here. There is gold, red, and turquoise. And
Alfred.
Yes, sir.
My wife walked into the room before I got the screen dark, and she's behind me saying, "That's it, that's the one."
Yeah, actually, this is a copy of an English teapot. Yes. Both my wife and myself, we love tea, and we come from Europe, and this is a replica of a teapot. I see a lot of teapots where the spout is further down. That's no good, because it cannot hold any water in there. As soon as it reaches here, it's going to overflow, right? But it's made at the same height as here. So anyway, that's what I got. And then I got a bunch of coats of lacquer spray on it. I wanted this glass to show it makes the color more intense when shows the chatoyance of it too. So
that is beautiful.
That's just absolutely stunning, Alfred.
How long did that take you to turn?
Well, the turning part is really easy because the turning this, the body and the top, I mean, there is nothing to it to turn it, but the hard work is doing the spout, the spout and the handle. This is all carved by hand, and then to hone it, to get this perfect here with no gaps here, and even for the spout, there is no gaps at all here.
Well, it looks like it's molded into it, really.
What I heard, Eddie, was it's not difficult. He'll do a demonstration for us. That's how I interpreted that.
Well, we don't use this term very often, but shut up.
Yeah, it takes Well, the turning the body it's easy. You know, I mean, that really is simple. But the spout and the handle do take time, and it's time consuming.
It is very beautiful. Very, very beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very
Appreciate
nice.
it. Yeah. That's what I have.
Okay,
Thank you, Alfred. Beautiful work. Gorgeous. Wow. Scott, I think that's you, bud. You're up.
Hey, Scott.
Yep. So Doug Miller did his video this week, so I had to try to copy something that he did. This is the first time I've ever done a goblet.
That's nice.
Wow,
I got it pretty thin. I got the goblet part down to 1/16 of an inch. You can actually see light through parts of it.
That's awesome.
That's my first goblet, and it was fun.
Brent had a bowl Brent had a bowl just now. You can see light through. I mean,
that's all I have.
Right,
thank you, Scott.
Hey,
Appreciate
Doug,
it.
hey, Doug.
There he is.
Hey, Doug.
All right. Y'all keep talking about my goblet. Let's see if I can get, there we go.
Did the YouTube on it. Boy, that was a good YouTube, bud.
Yeah, and did the bulk of that with the Skew. Did resort at the end to my bowl gouge, but most of that was done with my Skew.
Was
So I felt pretty good about it. Now, and for those of you who have not watched it, be ready. It's got a heart stopper toward the end, but as you can see, it survived. This was terribly green and very flexible. Since it has dried, it's good and stiff now. Took a rattle can lacquer very well, but yeah, it was very flexible while I was still turning it.
Probably
It was. Yes, it was.
Otherwise, it might have broken.
And wobbly.
Yes, it wobbled.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate that, Doug. And folks, you can see him on YouTube. Doug, what's your channel on YouTube?
Doug Miller at Wood Spun Round.
Wood Spun Round. I know that.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it. And folks, our website, our webpage is done just for wood turners. And on that webpage, on that website, pardon me, Dave lists all the YouTube channels that you, the turners, have. And we also put other information up there. Check out our website. If you see it on that website, you can be there because there's no hierarchy here. Everybody's a wood turner, including Cade. What you got, Cade?
Oh, hi everyone. I got a couple of things to show. I posted this the other day. It was a thin-walled live edge bowl turned to a 1/16 of an inch wall thickness all the way down. All the coloring and texture is done by a torch. Very carefully to avoid a lot of heat cracking and checking. Slow and steady wins the race. I have a little bit of a check there. And that's about it. I have another small one right there, but I mean, that adds character. And I posted this yesterday morning. By the afternoon, it was sold. So that's exciting.
Great. Yeah. It is beautiful piece.
That thing was beautiful.
And I have one. Here's another birdmouth hollow form. You saw the one I showed a couple weeks ago was Cardinal. Now this one is Blue Jay. Blue Jay, birdmouth hollow form. We still have the pith within it, so it warped and became slightly oval after turning it. This is red maple, and it's turned to 1/8 of an inch wall thickness. And I just painted the inside for color contrast blue. That's I have a few of them in a series. So that's another one. And then one last thing I have is a bowl that I did a couple months ago, and I played with color and texture, a bit of more color than anything. So this is a piece of regular old maple, pretty plain Jane grain, fairly simple. Oh, I can see myself in it and shave, but it's not time yet. So the outside, I colored. This piece I called Globe. because I did sort of an earth camouflage effect. And with that, I used sort of stamps. I created my own stamps out of these mats. I created my own stamps, different shapes, sizes, and I just went through the colors, texturing them and layering them to create the globe effect.
That is
And I
beautiful.
I wanted to paint the base and the rim to match, also framing in the color and texture.
Done well, done very well.
Spot
Thank
on.
you.
Very nice. Thank you, Kit.
Beautiful.
All right. Hey, Matt, notice that the darts are still in the target, okay?
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that, dude. You know where I'm going tomorrow.
Who's up next, Dane?
All right, let's go to Josh Smith.
Okay, so Eddie said something earlier about it, but I actually created a little coin,
Pull it back.
little wooden nickel. With it's got on one side of it, it's got our logo, and then on the other side of it, it actually has a QR code. And the reason I did this is, you know, I'm all the time telling people when I go to Woodcraft or Rockler or even to the lumber yards, you know, about our club and everything. And, you know, I think a lot of the time, you know, they forget about it. Well, if I have these little nickels, I can hand it to them and they put it in their pocket. And when they get home and they're taking stuff out of their pocket, and they see that, and it'll remind them, oh yeah, that guy gave me that. Let me check that out. Scan it, they scan the QR code, and it takes them right to the website, and everyth's good to go.
And QR readers are available for any of the cell phones, iPhone, Android, any of the other ones. And Josh, I did a little work this afternoon. I could not load that website you gave me for the how to do the QR, but I found another one. I just typed it in, how to make a QR code. Boom, up it came. No fanciness to it. And I have the logo. If I can get my wife to carry the laser out tomorrow, I'm going to sit out under the patio and burn some wood.
Yeah, and you know, like I had told you earlier, Eddie, you know, I use Lightburn. I just recently got a laser and was using the Niji software. I didn't really like it, so I went to Lightburn, and they had a free trial, so I tried it, and I mean, it comes out good. I sent the files over to Eddie to have, you know, put on the website or whatever for anybody to use. If anybody has any questions or whatever, they can reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to help them with it.
If you email me at our worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com, I'll gladly send you the artwork for the logo and for the QR code, and you can use it to your hearts, whatever you want. Remember, we don't have any hierarchy. In fact, we fired the boss. So thank you, Josh. Appreciate your involvement this afternoon. Let's go to one more. Who we got, Dane?
All right, well, we got Brenda, of course.
Of course, Brenda.
Guys, last week I was inspired by the demo on whistles. So I made whistles and
Boy, did she.
another whistle
Nice.
and another one.
Now, your grandkids don't live with you. This is a safe.
Lots of whistles.
And a purple heart one. Yes, my grandson got the first one I did. And you know what?
Let's hear him. Let's hear him.
He told I gave my grandson one, and he said, you know what? He said, you have blessed me with a whistle that will show my friends or tell my friends when I'm coming.
Well, let's hear them.
And this one is made out of a piece of 2x6 that I got from my brother. And they whistle.
That's awesome.
That is.
I was saying last week, I didn't make none last week because I didn't have no dowel rods. And everybody kept saying, well, make a dowel rod, make a dowel rod. I made the dowel rods.
Good.
So Yep.
There you go. All right, one more creation came from our demonstrations. Really nice. Brenda, thank you. Folks,
All right.
remember, if you get wounded, you can join Brenda's Band-Aid Brigade. We're getting all these clubs going. We got a Wigstand Club, we have the 2x4 Club, the Band-Aid Brigade, and you can't tell what else we'll come up with. You're tuned into worldwidewoodturners.org. We do this each week. We're supposed to be a 1-hour program, and we're supposed to start, we normally would have started at 7 o'clock and then at 8 o'clock. And the world said, you can't pull that off every week. Well, guess what? I tuned in about 5 after 6, and there were 55 people in the room already at 5 after 6 Central Standard Time. And most of the evening, we've been 90 to 100 or 110 people joining us. And we like that because these are all ideas coming to you. If we have somebody else up, Damon, then stay for a little while.
Yes, sir. We got Dick Stroh up.
Hey, Dick.
You're muted, buddy.
Dick, unmute yourself and take it easy with the moving of the camera. You got me going right now.
Yeah. Sorry about that, but I need to show you that several weeks ago I did my wig stands.
Oh,
out of the construct the 2x6. So I wanted to make sure that I got on that list too. But what I wanted to show you was I tried something else. This was unusual for me, and I hope I can get it lined up here so that you can see it well. There we go. It's a card holder.
Oh, okay.
Made out of a 2x10 that for, you know, when you can't hold 13 cards anymore, I made it like a platter and then put that ridge around the edge with a very thin parting tool, and each one of them holds 13 cards, and thought that was unusual and something that I wanted to try, and it worked.
That's a really cool idea.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
That might be the most unique thing we've seen in a long time.
What Bob Grinstead made.
Say again?
I said it's very similar to what Bob Grinstead showed a few weeks ago.
It really is.
The end stuff?
Yeah, card
The
holder.
card
like
holder.
Yeah, okay. I learned a lot from it because I had not done anything quite like this, and it's very educational and very satisfying to get it done. Thank you.
Well, Dick, I tell you what, I think I got to show you this. You're in the club, man. You're a Wigstand warrior.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks to everyone who's getting on board with the wig stands.
Good job, everyone.
See what we can do, Ronnie. There's no limit, right?
There you go. We're gonna cover the world.
Ronnie, I think we need a golf club tool handle club.
There you go.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right. Who else we have up tonight?
Well, I believe that was the last one for the moment.
Well, you're always jumping in last. What's up?
Oh, I'm not jumping in. I don't have anything. I'm still unpacking from the trip.
Welcome back, Dane.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
If I may, I also use a laser engraver from time to time, and I've switched a number of different pieces of software, and I now use a program called T2 Laser that works really well.
Say it again.
T2 Laser. It's a $40 one-time license. But I tried a bunch of different things and had a number of different problems. But T2 Laser has worked best for me. So
thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Folks, remind you once again, you're going to put that in the chat for us, Matt?
Sure.
All right. It's going to be in our chat before you leave tonight. Go to the chat bar, and you go to on the bottom right-hand corner, a little square with 3 dots. And when you do that, you will find a spot where it says Save Chat. In fact, I got it open right now. Top line says Save Chat. And I'll have everything that's in the chat saved to my, saved to my computer so I can go back and look it up. and it ends up on our website. Our website master handles that and puts the video from this program, and it gets up in the next 4 or 5 days, and it's a lot of work to get all that worked out. He records it, then he looks at it, and he'll edit out or edit in or edit the demonstrations. So if you saw the demonstration tonight with Kate and you want to see it again, you can go to it and click it, and it comes up as a YouTube. Same thing with what we saw just now from Paul and others. When it's a featured item, it'll go on our website. But you can see the whole show. I sat the other day and watched the entire program because I missed one of your names, and I needed to get hold of you. We don't do a registration. We don't do a membership list. We keep no roster. If you'd like to put your name out there where we can contact you, throw it in the chat, and we'll do that. We don't do the other because I'm not going to create a file to where some scammer or a business that is only out to make a buck on you would get that information. This is going to be friend to friend to friend, and that's why we do it that way. We have a Gary in Oklahoma says he tried laser GRBL. Will you try laser GRBL? He'll be getting his laser on Friday. And we got a lot of input on this. Anybody else this evening? Let's go.
Yeah, we have, let's see, we got Bray's wood turning coming up here. Let's see, where do they go? Go ahead and start talking, Bray.
All right, I'm here.
We got you now, Bray. Go ahead.
Okay. Actually, I got 3 things. 2 is a safety thing. And somebody had mentioned earlier in the meeting about turning the wooden mallets. And somebody had said turn them out of bowling pins. I had grown up in a cabinet shop, and we just made everything. Well, my dad had come across a bunch of bowling pins from a bowling alley. And I was probably about 13 years old, and we was turning these bowling pins into lampstands. Well, you got to be careful with the finish on them things, because we had all these shavings laying in the floor, and we went in the house, and all of a sudden Dad looked out and he said, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And went out there and opened the door, and those shavings with that finish on them was laying in the floor burning. It had started a fire. So if you're doing bowling pins like that, that is always a world of caution, because my dad would never let us turn any more bowling pins. So that's one thing. Another thing, as far as the safety goes, is I had a student of mine that about 10 years ago had bent over his wood lathe, and everybody wears these hooded sweatshirts with these drawstrings, and the drawstring got wrapped around the wood as it was turning. So do not wear them hooded sweatshirts with drawstring. That's a no-no.
I normally lose my drawstring real quick.
Yeah, and that's the best thing to do if you're a wood turner. But that's just a word of caution to put out there, because the accidents can happen very quickly. What I've got tonight to show is a natural edge bow.
Like that.
It's got a lot of bark inclusion in it. It's a oak burl sprayed with lacquer, and
Beautiful
it has,
smile.
Yeah, it's it was actually a really really good piece. And actually, where these bark inclusion are, you can actually see through them if you get them in the right angle. I chose not to fill them in. I just wanted to leave them like it was. It just makes a little bit better conversation piece, I think, sometimes.
It's character.
Nice.
It's character. That's it.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bray. Appreciate the input tonight. Dane, do we have anybody else?
No, that's
Yeah, Eddie, I got something here.
Keep talking.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Who is this? Who is
this? I don't have the name.
Rich Borchers.
There we go, Rich. Now we got you.
Yeah.
We're going to get you up here. Now you're on the spotlight. What you got, sir?
Yeah, I got these 3-cornered bowls I made out of 2x6s.
Nice.
Huh. Wow.
Here's another one here.
Very nice.
Clean lines, very clean lines.
Sweet.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, those are nice.
Those are
Nice.
fun. Those are fun.
Crisp.
Well, that boy, I tell you what, that's nice work. I like doing 3-corner pieces. It drives folks nuts. Because how did you turn that? Don't tell them. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your input tonight, Rich.
Those are nice.
Capinetti, if you want a demo on that, I can do a demo on that.
You can.
Are you
I've
on
got
the
one already
2x4
in the
club
can.
yet?
When are we
I've got
doing
one
it?
in the can.
Don't let them off the hook. When are we doing it?
I don't know. I woke up to 2 inches of snow and it's 30 degrees this morning. So maybe not till next week, or I better not commit to next week. So give me 2 weeks.
All right, in 2 weeks, we'll do the 3-corner bowl. I am
glad
right now, man.
Really, instead of me
Sweet.
staying back east there with that cold weather y'all got going on again.
Yeah, well, this is why I don't put away my snowblower and snow shovels till mid-May.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Saw a guy.
Dane, if you can go ahead and spotlight me, I'm going to go ahead and try and make Matt feel a little warmer in his house.
All right.
We got you.
That's
We got you
just
now.
me hanging out in the hot tub.
You are not right.
I
That
got
is
my
not
bathing suit
right.
on, so we're all good.
pox-
But yeah,
a
that's
pox on
Arizona
your
weather
soul,
for you,
Doug.
right
A
there.
pox on your soul, Doug.
All right.
Hey, Doug, you keep your
That's just mean.
Hey, so hopefully this is my last week of not being very participative in this meeting. I just turned in my last college assignment today, so
Yay.
I'll have a little break before the next semester starts again. And I'm hoping maybe this weekend to get out in my shop and make something. And still no update from the inspectors. My new shop is still on hold, so nothing's happening yet.
Got it.
All right.
On. Thanks,
Thank
Doug.
you.
You wearing a 2-piece?
Yeah. Why are you asking that, man?
Kim had actually mailed it out to me.
The mankini.
Yeah,
Don't-
I got
don't
my
start.
We don't want to go there.
Don't start them. Whatever you do, don't start them.
Polka dots.
Who else we have up, Dane?
At the moment, we don't have anyone.
All
Hey,
right.
Eddie, I got a question.
got one here.
All right, we're gonna
I've got
go
a
to the
couple.
question. Hold on. We got a question. Which question? Brenda?
Yeah, the last guy that did the 3-point bowls, those was 2x4s?
Yeah.
2x6s. And he
2x6s?
laminations in
Was
them.
he on the, is he on the 2x4 club yet?
Not yet. Gotta get his name. His name was Rich, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Rich Borchers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta look and see. I might have his card here. Yeah, because we don't want anybody miss out on being in
There he is.
5-4 club. All right, there we have it.
So, hey, Matt, I had to go to my Ace Hardware today to get some Dremel bits. And so I've been catching up on the videos from the last month that I missed out. So I got to watch last week's or week before last meeting about the ball end mills.
Okay.
And so, believe it or not, my Ace Hardware did not have a ball end mill, let alone have any type of end mills, and looked at me like I was asking for something from Greek times.
Hey, Ronnie can hook you up with an Amazon link where you can buy it off Amazon.
Yeah, Dane.
Yeah, I bought the last ones off of Amazon. Usually you get them at a tool supply store. Usually you get them at a tool supply store.
Right.
Amazon's got them for $16, so don't go pay no exorbitant amount for them.
Well,
I think I paid $7 for mine. I think I
my
paid
dad's
$7.
a die maker, so I'm sure that I've got ball end mills somewhere in one of his tool chests that I have. I just need to look through them. I know I've got a drawer full of square or straight end mills. And so I was going to pose the question: could you just sharpen the square end mill and put a taper on the, grind it to a ball on the front?
Most of them a blade on it.
That's a question for Trey, I think.
Trey's still in there.
So,
Trey, you still with us?
He's doing something in his chair there. Yeah, you had some of those.
That would still work.
Well, the reason why you use the ball end mill is so you can go around the corners of things, and the square would impede that, I would think. So,
but if you ground them,
well,
rounded them,
right?
Look at the head on them, because you need those flutes on the head. If you grind it, you're grinding off the flutes.
Yeah, there's no bevel there if you grind away those.
The very end of it, yeah.
Yeah, you're grinding off the bevel, Dane. You gotta have a ball end mill.
What if you want a flat bottom box?
Yep, you could do that.
Got it.
You could use that for flat bottom bowls or flat
We all
bottom
know
boxes.
the flat bottom boxes make the world go round, right?
Yeah, right. It makes something go around.
I got a bunch for $1 at the flea market
And a bunch of what for $1?
right here. Endmills.
All right, those are square ends.
John, New Jersey.
I'm getting there, John.
John,
Yeah,
they're square.
Yeah, so that's
they're
square,
square.
like what I was showing.
I said $1 a piece. I said fine.
Hey, Eddie, this is one I got in. I don't know if you can put me up.
All right, hold on one second. Say it again.
This is Dean Grimes.
Dean, yeah.
All right.
Dean?
There you go.
There he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a ball, right?
Yeah, also guys, if you notice that the one that Dean was just showing, it has 2 flutes. The other one, that's a straight spiral that has 3 flutes. You will never be able to grind that as a ball end mill. So because you have too many flutes, you can grind both of the spirals off and leave one, but it's not worth trying. It's so hard to get that ball and then make that 1/16 bevel around it. It's not worth it. It's a lot easier and will work a lot better for you if you just go and buy one for 16.
And this one's double-ended too, so you've got
exactly.
You can
You
switch
see,
it around.
you have two flutes. The spiral ones have 3 flutes, and the flute is too tight to get the design that you want to do the shear cutting with it.
All right, and we got a great team here because Gerald Jensen just threw a ball end mill he bought for $6.25 from Amazon, and he put the item number up there. So all you have to do is go to chat and click on that item number, and you got it for $6.25. And Ronnie paid $3 for his golf club handle in order to get a complete tool. $10 for a tool.
So my next question about the ball end mill rabbit hole, after it gets dull, it sounds like you just throw it away.
Yeah, you got 2 flutes on each side, okay?
Right.
And so when those get dull, you undo your set screw and switch it around. You got 2 more flutes. And when those got dull, which is like 4 years from now, then you throw it out and buy a new one.
Right on. Okay, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
you have to
$6.
remember you have 4 cutting edges there. If you want, you can touch it a bit with a round diamond. Just do the inside of the flute. It's the same, just take it very easy on it. And you should, it's like Kate was doing with the skew. You just go on the inside and you're gonna raise the burr out again, and you should cut a lot better. But they're so cheap that it's not worth messing with them.
That last flat bottomed end mill that was shown, there's no way that you could use that also for drilling, for hollowing the center.
Well, it's an end mill. It's not used for drilling.
Right.
No, you can only use that for the side. That's a side cutting tool.
Right.
The bottom is you will not be able to drill with it because there is no flute at the bottom. You can only cut with the side, not with the bottom.
Yeah, that's why you need the ball.
Yeah, correct.
So we got a new gallery item to pop in here real quick, and then we can go back to chatting about tooling. So Don, how are you in Ontario?
I'm doing. Hello there. I'm doing well. We just got some snow today, about 6 inches.
Wow.
So it made me think it's about time to get back to the shape of things to be. And last night, from New Zealand, we had Theo, and oops, stuck. There it is. So I made a toothpick snowman.
Very nice.
Real nice.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I've done this here before. It's a piece of elm.
Right there.
And
Perfect.
If you take a look at the edge, I don't know if you can see the edge.
Now we can, right there.
It's got zebra mussels, crushed up zebra mussels, which I got out of Lake Erie.
Fine lake.
Cool.
So that's one way of recycling some undesirables. And this one here is a pear bowl that was wet. So I put in some biscuits into it. And of course, because it was green, it warped. So I used a biscuit for the top of the handle.
Very nice.
Very unique.
Very cool.
So Don, you got a piece over your
That's
right
awesome.
shoulder sitting on right behind you. That's got a rim in the middle. Could you show that off?
The live edge wing bowl right there.
Big one?
Yep.
Yes, that one.
Yes,
Not to put you on the spot.
No, Dane's checking out your house. I'd keep the doors locked now.
This is my Saturn bowl that I did a while ago. I think I did show it to the club.
I think so.
I was
It's
probably on
beauty.
vacation.
done in,
I wasn't in. That's gorgeous.
What
Yeah.
kind of wood is that?
English walnut.
English walnut.
Definitely worth showing twice.
Yeah.
That sounded like an airplane when it was turning.
That's beautiful.
Right.
We'd like to have a
Your-
photograph. Don, we'd like to have a picture of that to put on our website and our newsletter. If you can do that for us,
I could
please.
possibly do that.
We would very much
One of
like-
the things that you're always talking about is stuff flying at you. I've been turning now for 15 years, and I think I've only ever had 2 pieces come flying off the lathe and hit me. Number one is I don't turn fast. I turn slow. Lots of times I'm only turning at 40 RPM. Most of my work is turned at 250 to 150. And I never stand in front of the lathe. I sort of stand beside it and always let it fly over my left shoulder. And I've had pieces leave the lathe, and I've had them fly over my direction, but I'm never standing in front of the work.
No, out of the fire line, out of fire. So,
Right.
thank you, Don. Beautiful work. Gorgeous work.
Don, there's still time after 15 years. We can teach you, buddy. We can get you in the right spot on the lathe. We want you to be part of the club.
So
Yeah.
hey, Ed,
All right.
the other club that we need to start is the Birdwood Club.
The what?
The Birdwood.
Birdwood.
Club.
Birdwood, when it takes flight, baby.
Right.
Watch it fly.
And so the honorary members are Doug and Brenda already, and I think Doug Moore is a member also.
So do
Wow.
you put feathers on the wood?
Well, if I'm not a member, I should be, because I've got a T-shirt that says, "Well, that hit me right in the face shield."
That's great.
I don't recall any of your videos having Birdwood in it, Billy.
Do I need to have?
You hadn't watched enough of them then.
Does that need to be on video in order to get in the club?
Well, not have to be, but you have to own up to it.
Right.
I'm a charter member.
We would put you in Brenda's Band-Aid Brigade in a heartbeat, you know, but Birdwood Club, the Birdwood Club, we got to work on that.
Birdwood Club.
Yeah.
Pretty
Well,
sure
whenever,
everybody's had at least one.
Whenever I catch my soldiers doing something crazy, I always tell them, and this, soldiers, is where safety briefings come from. So see, we're just helping out our safety guy with stuff to talk about.
Yep.
Speaking of
Yeah.
which, Jeff, we need
I'm writing it down, guys. Taking pictures and names.
Have you done safety for tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
I have to watch the instant replay.
I guess so, huh? I did come late, so.
Yeah, you sure did. Yeah.
you know, all those time zones I was traveling through.
Speaking of safety, does Doug Rowe have a life preserver on?
You know, I am Army, but I can swim a little bit.
Is his phone plugged in while he's playing with it in there?
It is not.
No, but y'all have to you have to notice now, he's got more hair on his face than he's got on his head.
Hey guys, I don't know if you can see this one or not. I like this one.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's good. Guy used to work for me. I know him.
Genius.
I watched the guy.
I think he's trying to change a bulb above the pool.
Yeah, the circuit breaker's probably still on too.
On
The
that house,
lights are still on. It say knows which one to change.
that house that we're talking that they're building in the next block that I was looking at the turning boot on top of it. I saw a guy out there the other day, and traffic was backed up. My wife was driving. He had one 5-gallon bucket, and he still didn't went high enough, so he put another 5-gallon bucket on top of it. You know, I guess it made a more stable platform for him. All right. Well, it's a little bit after 20 minutes after the hour, and folks, we've been here having a great time tonight. It's time to pull the plug and say goodnight, and we'll be back here again next Wednesday evening, same time. Bring a friend. Please let them know where we are. Give them the address, worldwidewoodturners.org. Everything they need is on there. I mean, everything they need is on there. And if they want to get a hold of us, worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com, or there's a contact sheet on the website. Until next Wednesday, I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. I'm getting out in the shop. Can't walk around much, but I'm getting out into the shop. Y'all take care, be good, and above all else, be safe, please.
Have a great night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, all. Good night, everybody.
Hey,
Good night, John Boy.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Kate,
Night.
Pardon?
Welcome back.
want to pull up chat later after we disconnect?